All right, and hack. It is 5 o'clock, or sorry, 6 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock Eastern time for y'all. Welcome. Who are we?
I am Jeffy Jeff, and
I'm
I
Jen.
am, yeah,
Oh, are
she's
you still
Jen.
going? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh no.
We're just doing names, or are we going to actually introduce ourselves and say, hi, kids? Or I don't know what we're doing here.
I don't know. I'm Tay. That's about all I have to say.
Well, at least it rhymes.
There you go.
Yeah.
And who are you?
I'm EJ, also known as Dr. Awesome. All part of the USDN.
I love it. Hey, Black. What up? All right, Jeff, you want to take us into our intro?
I do. Welcome to the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. We will always strive to give you factual data, and if it's a rumor, we will always preface that with rumor alert before giving you the freshest info. However, once those rumors are proven true, you can bet your sweet hard-earned money that the USDN will slam that stamp of approval on it.
All right, welcome back, everybody, from that awesome, super awesome intro.
Ayo!
You guys already know what time it is. It is tradition o'clock, which means it's shot o'clock. All right. So, what are we all drinking today?
Shots.
Or shooting? Shooting?
Shooting.
I think it's shooting tay.
Yes. What are we
Shooting.
shooting?
I am
Getting shotted.
sipping on some coffee.
Okay, Jen, what you got?
Oh, I got some bourbon.
Oh, okay. EJ, you
Good stuff, though.
partaking?
Is that the one that we got the other day?
That's the one Chris gave us. Chris Lovelady.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. Hell yeah, it is.
I'm drinking the good old ooze from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's so green.
Hoping to mutate. The only animals I've come in contact, though, is my dog. So I don't know how it's going to really turn out. But
And our kids.
yeah, we definitely don't want that mutation.
No, please God, no.
Please God, no. I am taking a shot of pomegranate Ciroc. I do have to get more of it, but I'm taking it in my Halloween Horror Nights because we're doing a All Hallows Eve podcast. So here is a shot to all those pesky demons to get them away or to invite them in. We don't judge here. Cheers.
Cheers.
Salud. Yes, AD, coffee. Like coffee before bed.
That seems a little counterproductive, but you know,
Hey.
each their own.
I was as a military member and as an NCO, it's kind of what I lived off of, and I still live off of nicotine, coffee, and hate.
It's like a Sith.
Okay.
Basically,
Yeah.
yes.
All right, Jen.
Okay.
What are we talking about
So-
today?
So we're going to be discussing a few of our favorite Halloween shows. So pretty much each of us have our favorite Halloween show, and then we also have some recommendation for you guys. I know it's this time of year, and some of you who aren't well versed in horror, sci-fi horror, things of that nature. Going to kind of broaden your horizons a little bit, give you some recommendations for this upcoming week in case you're getting bored and need to watch something scary.
Yeah,
Because
good
it's
scary
spooky
movie night.
season.
Because it's spooky season, y'all.
Yeah, you want a good scary movie night. You don't want to end up like picking something and just regretting, and all your friends look at you like that was terrible. And all
Well,
that
you
shit.
get the silver star for that one, friend. That's true. But anyways, if you guys have seen these movies, please add to the conversation. We always appreciate other people's recommendations because, Eric and I try to watch a bunch of scary movies, but we don't catch them all. Caught a couple of good ones we'll recommend tonight, but
It's not like Pokemon. You don't catch them all.
no. No. That was a good one.
Sometimes we fail there.
Catch 'em all.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, you want to give us our USDN alert?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of the information that we were going to present to you today merely scrapes the surface of the information that is available out there to you. And to prevent us from going down countless, numerous, endless rabbit holes in a 3-hour-long podcast that we would regret tomorrow, we highlight things that are important to you. And for more in-depth content, you can reference a book, a comic.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Jeff, you're robotic again.
Oh, it's Robo Jeff again.
It's Robo Jeff.
Dead or alive. You're
Well, I
coming
guess
with
that
Jeff.
was appropriate for the alert. Hang on,
What?
I'll be
I
back.
think so.
Okay.
You're being hacked.
Yeah, I mean, especially like if you're watching, you may see comments and so forth. Some of the viewers, some of our members may throw out some info you didn't know about, or maybe put you onto something that's connected to one of the movies or stories we bring up. So there's endless stuff to go over. We don't want to sit there and bury you in minutia, which really the whole point is to just turn you on to something, and then you can develop your own like or dislike opinion on it. Or you might just learn, hey, how something's connected. Hey, Amanda, how you doing?
Amanda. Hey, I just took a shot of y'all's drink that you
Yeah,
were
we just took a shot of bourbon.
shot of bourbon.
You can join in if you want, Amanda.
Yeah, and we would love to know your guys' recommendations. If we don't cover what you have, or we might actually cover it later, we're definitely open to your guys' recommendations. So please feel free to give us those recommendations in the chat, and just add that conversation going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean,
All right.
we're all surprising each other with this tonight. It's kind of a first, kind of something we did for ourselves because, you never know what someone's into. So this is kind of, everybody was allowed to select a few movies that they were interested in that had to, some sort of Halloween or fear or horror or suspense aspect to it. And we were going to just surprise each other with them as we presented them. You never
Wait,
know. One of us
what?
might be so in tune, we might have the same movie, but
Y'all selected more than one?
Yep.
yeah, see, Jeff only had one movie that he really liked.
Surprise!
He's like, I like some movies, but one's good enough. No, but so like I said, chime in with any kind of your inputs. You never know. We might all have the like mind in that aspect. So, but thanks for showing up. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, we did all of our own choices. So that's what we're going to begin with. And then after that, we're going to kind of Rochambeau, Shotgun, kind of like some other movies that we like. So those are our additional movies that we did a little bit of research on, but not too in depth, with our choices, if you will. So without further ado, Jeff, are you ready for your choice?
Lead the charge.
Sure. Apparently, I didn't get the memo for 2.
That's okay. You'll just join in on the end.
You're supposed to be chiming in on everybody else's stuff too, so it doesn't really matter.
So I'm just going to criticize everybody else's. That's fine.
There you go.
So I wanted to go with a classic Wes Craven film for my recommendation. I'm pretty sure most people have seen it. And chose this movie because I kind of felt like at the time it changed the horror genre.
Oh no. Jeff, you're still robotic. All right. Well, while Jeff figures that out, Jen, do you want to
So,
just go into yours, and then we'll delve back to Jeff?
sure.
Okay.
So I don't know if everyone else has that movie that they just watch like every Halloween. I think ever since I was probably like I can't remember how old, 11 or 12, something like that. I have watched Hocus Pocus every
Ooh.
single year. Absolutely love Hocus Pocus. That was released unfortunately during the summer. Um, so I think it was in, somebody correct me, 1992, 1993, I think. And they released it during the Amanda. Yes, Hocus Pocus, yes. Dude, there's so many memes of this movie. And I'm telling you, when Bette Midler's like, oh, it's a glorious morning. Makes me sick. I love that. That was like the best line ever. That's how I feel in the mornings. I hate that. But anyhow, um, so they didn't want it competing with the Nightmare Before Christmas. So they released it in July. It didn't really get that great of a reception, I don't think. But much like other movies, like the one that comes to mind is like the Shawshank Redemption. It actually had a cult following after a while, especially on DVD. Now, before you could just go into any old store, I'm kind of aging myself here, where you
What,
could
like
buy it.
Blockbuster?
Yes. Thanks,
Continue.
Tay.
I went to Blockbuster as a kid. Okay, I
Girl,
get it.
every year I would rent Hocus Pocus and I would wonder, I'm like, why don't my parents just buy this? Like, of all the times I rent this, I rent it all the time. I'm like, just buy it. But that wasn't really a thing back then when I was growing up. Anyways, um, some fun facts about this movie. Jennifer Lopez actually auditioned for Sarah Sanderson. Oh, Amanda worked at the video store. Man, Amanda, you are girl, we're like the same age. I know. It's like I worked at Blockbuster. I'm like, oh God. Dude, I wish I still had my Blockbuster card. I'd like flag that stuff around. Um, but Jennifer Lopez actually auditioned
That would
for
have been a
Sarah
totally different
Sanderson,
movie.
right?
It would have been a totally different movie.
Right.
Suddenly there'd be a romantic story that ends up between her and someone else in the movie, and she's just a
Just
small town witch.
yeah.
Right.
Not a witch. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So
Love
glad
J-Lo.
Sarah Jessica Parker got that part. And Max Dennison's character, the main male character, other than Binks, was actually originally sent to Leonardo DiCaprio,
That's so
and he
weird.
actually, right? I didn't know that. I was reading that, and I was like, seriously, I didn't know that. But he actually turned it down and went to go on to do What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Hmm.
So it was a
That's
good
an
choice for him.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right?
he
Yeah.
killed
Right.
that. That was awesome.
He did.
It
I
got
was
some
like,
awards, right?
yeah, he was an impressive performance, honestly.
Yeah.
Another
To
little
this
tidbit
day.
I picked up. Yeah, yeah. On poor guy finally got his Oscar when he's in his like 40s. Um, Diane Keaton was actually almost Winifred instead of Bette Midler. I know. That's how I felt about it too. I was like,
Okay.
oh, glad they picked Bette Midler. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is, I don't know if this is his first movie, but this is the first time I actually remember seeing Doug Jones. Does
The
anybody remember
legend, the
who Doug
icon.
Jones is?
Everybody has seen Doug Jones, whether they know it or not. I mean, from
He
like all sorts of stuff, like Hellboy.
he played Abe Sapien. He is our
Um,
monster behind the
he's usually a
masks.
monster. Like, you've seen Pan's Labyrinth, the scary monster with the eye hands.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
he's played so many, and people just, you won't recognize the name, but you'll definitely recognize him when you see him. I mean, he's very tall, slender guy. Doesn't look like he'd be scary, but he
No.
does a great job. I mean, excellent
And
job.
and he was actually in an episode of Face Off. Eric, I
Mhm.
don't know if you remember this. So we were watching Face Off, and Doug Jones is actually on there to help some of the performers kind of pull off some of their monster suits. And he's just amazing. Like I just absolutely love Doug Jones. So he played Billy the Butcher in the movie, and that was the first time that you actually saw him. And I was just like, from then on, I was like, I know that guy. I'm like, it's Doug Jones. Doug Jones is amazing.
Yeah, I didn't know it at the time. I mean, until we saw
Yeah.
him like decades later, you're like, wow.
It's like, yeah, he's like a reoccurring theme, and then you're like, hey, I know that guy. I'm like, he always plays all the creatures. He does such a good job.
Yeah.
So what did he play in Hocus Pocus? I'm sorry, I totally
He
missed
played
that.
the zombie
He
guy,
plays-
right?
Yeah, he played Billy the Butcher.
Yeah.
He had his lips sewn shut.
He like works for the witch in
Okay.
the beginning.
Yeah, no,
Or
He
the main
resurrected him.
witch, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this,
All right.
yeah. So like I said, these are some of the best memes that come from this movie. Now if you look at Mary's hair, her hair is actually shaped into the Halloween Town Hill in A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh.
Now, yeah.
That's so different. Okay, now I have to actually go back and like watch
Yeah,
because
I have to keep that
I
up.
didn't actually know that.
Yeah.
Huge fan
I didn't
of
either.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Right.
I went back and looked. I was like, well, hot damn. I see you, Disney. I see what you're doing. I'm picking up what you're throwing down. You know, it was kind of cool. I was like, they didn't want to compete with it, but they had like little like nods here and there. So yeah, they had that in there. And there's actually a sequel, but it was in book form that was written about the movie in 2018. Takes place 25 years after the event. I know what you guys are thinking. Like, Jen, I ain't gonna read a book. I'm sorry, I love books. I haven't read this book, but when I saw there was a book, I was like, that's going on my Kindle list. We're going to read that. But anyhow, the book was takes place 25 years
fuck?
after the events in the movie. There's
Can
some
y'all hear
people that
me?
aren't. That's okay.
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah,
you. Yeah, Jeff.
Good. AD, I expect better.
that's okay.
I
AD.
mean, I'm not a fan of everything about the movie, but I can definitely respect the amount of work and everything that went into it. And
The music.
there's some iconic
The
moments and
music.
iconic characters that came out of Nightmare Before Christmas that, I mean, they're part of
Absolutely.
Halloween forever now, you know?
Mm-hmm. And
So-
Christmas.
Yeah,
Christmas.
and
My
then
house.
you like, is it a Christmas movie? Is it a Halloween movie? It's a both movie, and
Yeah.
it's the same thing
Both.
like with Harry
And it
Potter.
gives all of us that like
Like,
Halloween so much
absolutely.
a chance to put some of Halloween into Christmas.
I know. That's why I have Christmas ornaments because my kids love Nightmare Before Christmas so much. So I have Nightmare Before Christmas ornaments. I'm going to find 0 eventually. I didn't find them last year, but I'm going to find them.
that would be
Love
such a cool Christmas ornament.
I love it. I love my Christmas. I'll have to send pictures to you. Okay.
Yeah.
So in this book, it tells about that there's actually a 4th Sanderson sister. I know. I didn't know this. And they didn't really
J-Lo?
mention it in the second. What?
J-Lo?
No.
Yeah, I was
Good
trying
guess,
to link
though.
facts
10
together, like
points.
the facts
Oh my
were
God.
coming. I'm like, I was
10
doing
points.
the Sesame Street thing where you bring the word together. You're like
No, it's
compound
Diane
words
Keaton.
like
Didn't
dog and
you-
house and
How
dog and house and
fucking
dog and
awkward would
dog
it
house.
if it was
Dog-
J Lo?
oh, okay, sorry.
You got 3 white ladies, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, there's
My
J Lo as
sister
the
from
4th
There's
Sanderson
J-Lo.
sister. You're like,
Is
wait.
there, yeah.
They're
is
like,
there-
oh, she's a.
Oh
You never
no.
That would be hilarious.
Oh my God. Hey.
Hey, Kim.
Hey Kim.
What's it?
Hey Kim, what's going on?
The adopted Sanderson
Came at a
sister.
good time. So so her name is Elizabeth, and she actually kind of branched away from doing magic and stuff and tried to live a normal life unlike her sisters. And Binks and Emily actually return, not to give away the whole book, and Elizabeth's ghost actually comes to help. I kind of read the synopsis of the book. I think it's kind of worth a read, especially if you're a Hocus Pocus fan, just to kind of get some more background story, because I think it's part of the book is leading up to the movie, and then like the other part of the book is leading up to the next movie, so it kind of gives you some in between that may explain some more things. But anyhow,
Hasn't the second movie already came out?
Yeah.
yeah.
It wasn't based on the book?
Well, that's the point. It's like the book, it has things that kind of tie into the first movie, and then it kind of like a little
Oh.
bit of ties into the next movie.
Okay.
So I haven't read it. That's just the synopsis that I read. Yeah, Kim, I like the second movie. I
It's
liked
I
it a
no
didn't.
lot.
Godfather.
I didn't.
I kind
I'm
of wish
sorry.
that I know that they try to get Thora Birch to come back
Reprise.
and kind of reprise her character. She had some scheduling conflicts, which I mean, as a huge fan, I was really disappointed. I wish she would have. I kind of wish Vanessa Shaw would have came back as well. There's a lot of people that I kind of wish, but I mean, the most importantly, Kathleen and Jimmy and Bette Midler and Sarah Jessica Parker came back, and the movie just wouldn't have been the same without them. So, in respect to that, I love seeing the three of them again and with their antics and everything. So it's worth a watch. I definitely it doesn't have the same weight as the first one, but it's definitely worth a watch. So yeah, I'd watch it. Definitely watch
Nice.
Yeah.
it. All right, so some recommendations. Now, one movie that I just so offhandedly, I remember my dear sweet husband putting on, and I thought it was just I'm not really sure what it was. I think I remember being in nursing school and I was really stressed out, and you put a horror movie on. I was like, oh, babe, thanks. Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat. I am a huge fan of anthologies, my friends. And especially when someone very wickedly smart can tie them all together. And you have to go back and watch things that I know, AD, my bro, I know, right? You go back and you can find things in the background. Find things in the background. Oh, it's been on my TV several times already this month, buddy. I love that movie. So there's 5 interwoven stories that occur on Halloween night. Now, I am not going to spoil some of the movies that I'm recommending here. I don't want to spoil them, but I definitely want you to watch them. I'm going to give you enough information that's going to hook you and bring you in. Watch it. All right. So so some of the movie, you have your high school principals, a serial killer. Let's admit it. It's probably happened in real life. You think your principal's kind of shady. And then you have another story where the classic group of teenagers pull a mean girl trick on the nerd girl. I felt really bad for that girl, man. I hate that. I hate those part of the anthologies. Like, why you got to pick on her? She's so nice. And then you have like this cantankerous woman who hates Halloween, and she has to deal with her husband who absolutely loves and like obsessed with Halloween. And then you also have the virgin girl that gets all teased by her sisters that she's trying to look for that perfect guy. And I just want to point out Anna Paquin plays the virgin girl.
And if
Now
those of
I
you who
do
It
don't
is
know who that
fantasy.
is, that's Rogue from X-Men.
yes.
The woman
So,
who used to walk around naked on set on True Blood.
it was a really
Yeah,
hot
Oh.
set,
she's
okay?
virgin
Shouldn't
material
judge.
right there.
Um
Took care of that
I
virginity
am
problem.
I am going to ruin a little bit of the movie. So I do want to point out that there are werewolves in this movie, and it was made by the Tatopolis Studios. Now, those are the same studios that made the Lycans for Underworld. So you know
Yes.
that you are going to get some
Get some
good
badass
effects.
werewolves.
He is an
Yes.
amazing special effects
Yes.
creator.
And and to note, when you actually see it, you actually can see the transformation, and it's a huge nod to the Howling. Because
Yeah.
between I think the American Werewolf in London and then Howling have like some of the best transformation, in my
And all
opinion, of werewolves
all
ever.
practical
Perfection.
effects. It's amazing.
Perfection.
It's just amazing, guys. If you guys
So
appreciate that stuff, go ahead. What's up, Jeff?
this could be breaking news for some people, but we're going to rumor alert. They are currently working on a Trick or Treat 2.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Hell yeah!
Hell
is it
yeah.
on
You gotta put
like
that
is it
up.
official as in like it's on IMDb yet or?
I don't know about IMDb, but I did read the article the other day, and in the spirit, and slap it with a rumor alert onto the page.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm breaking it now. Rumor alert: Trick or Treat 2 is possibly in the works.
They need
Yeah.
There
to.
you have it,
Okay.
folks.
I'd love to see
Oh,
Stan
they-
come back.
I will definitely watch that. So thank you. That actually brings my next. I think it's the last one in there that there's an old man who just absolutely hates Halloween. He's really mean to trick or treaters and everything. It's actually played by Brian Cox. Now I think it was the second X-Men movie.
I know 6 Degrees of X-Men. It is. Got
Actually, you're
Rogue,
right.
got
That's so weird.
Stryker. We just keep
Yeah.
going.
So he played Stryker. Yeah. So if you guys don't know who that is, go back and watch your X-Men, the original ones with Hugh Jackman, and you got Brian Cox who plays Stryker.
Don't do it. They all suck.
They're pretty bad. But just look at the clip of Brian Cox and quit.
Yeah. So Brian Cox
Make sure you spell that
actually-
right.
Yeah. Yeah, don't look up
It's with an
Brian
X.
Cox with a CK.
It's
a
with an
different
X
rabbit
for
hole.
X-Men.
It's a different.
You'll
different
find
rabbit hole,
X-Men,
friends.
just not the one you're looking for.
Yeah. And USDN did not condone that search.
Oh my god, y'all.
So he actually wore prosthetics to actually look like John Carpenter. Now, there was
Is he
actually
like
another.
Scrooge? Like, is he like the Halloween version of Scrooge? Like
That's what the character
old
is.
teen-
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the spirit of Halloween actually comes to teach him a lesson. And there's actually a nod to Pet Cemetery there because it actually ends up cutting his Achilles tendon, if you guys remember that.
And watch
From
him
Pet
flop around
Sematary.
like a marionette.
Oh God.
What
this
movie is that
so-
from?
Oh, I don't know.
The
Can't think of it.
first triplettes when he is captured and Danny Trejo comes in with the machete. He's like, and I'll cut your Achilles and watch you flop around like a marionette.
Oh.
It
Okay.
does hurt. I can't attribute that. I've worked in an ER, friends.
Ooh.
So the second movie that I want to recommend. Now, I am not the biggest fan of like found footage documentaries, but I am a fan if they are done well. Now, my second one is The Taking of Deborah Logan. If you guys have not seen that, you absolutely have to see The Taking of Deborah Logan. Now, the plot of the story is an elderly woman is battling Alzheimer's. And with her daughter's permission, and obviously of the character Deborah, she gives them permission to kind of document her condition as it progresses, which I'm curious about because Alzheimer's is not a quick progression. So I'm wondering if it's kind of in the later stages of it. But anyhow, so the it's kind of classified under like a supernatural horror because
It's just suspenseful. Yeah.
it is very suspenseful. So over the course of the movie, strange things are occurring. Deborah's acting even more and more strangely. And it's probably there's several scenes at the end of the movie that are just so like I was disturbed. I was like, oh my God. I clutched my pearls.
Yeah.
I was like, dear God. There's like the
It
ending.
catches
I
you
was
off
just-
guard because the suspense builds and then you're like, and then something happens and you're like, it's like because you're so used to being this slow build and then something will happen. It really does catch you off guard. But yeah, you're right.
Kim-
All the moment you're like, whoa.
I just started the fall of the fall of the House of Usher. I'm on
Oh yeah,
I
Kim just asked that.
yeah.
episode
so,
one
yeah.
was amazing. Like
Is
that
it?
first episode,
Yeah.
it hooks
Yes.
you. Like toward the
I-
end of it, it's like, oh my God,
I have to
like,
check it out.
the fuck.
I have something to
Okay.
say
I
about
saw
real quick.
that.
I'm not gonna drop no spoilers or nothing, but
Sweet.
it so far, like, this episode, I'm like, all right, cool.
Nice.
So Kim,
Alright.
yes, I finished it from start to finish. I binge watched it with AD. We watched it in like 3 days, and it is an Edgar Allan Poe. It is based off of that. If you guys didn't
Love
know,
him.
so it's like super dope. I do have more to say about that later when I talk about my stuff.
Oh.
Sweet.
all I'm
I
gonna
love to
say.
hear about
See,
it.
I told you minds would come together.
Mm-hmm. But you'd know it.
That's because we're
Um,
sadistic individuals.
Synchronicity.
Stop it.
I know.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah,
So
we'll talk about this
the
offline,
next,
okay?
no. So the next movie I'm going to talk about, they actually have another documentary that they did called Hellier. It's not nearly as good as this movie, and they kept talking about synchronicity.
They say it
So
like 400 times.
synchronicity. And honestly, I didn't really feel like anything was going on in that whole documentary. I wasn't really sold on it. However, this documentary, it's on Amazon. We rented it. It's called The Unbinding. So you have some paranormal investigators, researchers, uh, an unusual effigy is dubbed the crone that was discovered by a couple of hikers in the Cave of the Catskill Mountains back in New York in 2016. The original hikers who were so disturbed by the things that were occurring in their homes that they attributed it to this effigy. And they ended up sending this effigy to the occult researchers, Greg and Dana Newkirk. Now, some of the things that were occurring in this guy's home were just really bizarre, like wet footprints, like a perfect footprint. Strange things happening, his dog acting very strangely, not wanting to come back into the house would definitely make your hair like stand on end. So he sent it to the Newkirks. Now, the thing that I like about the Newkirks, Dana and Greg, is that they seem like a really down to earth kind of occult researchers. They don't, how can I describe some other ones? They're not those rabid researchers that try to make something out of nothing. They actually approach things very down to earth, very logically. So they even mention, because they have a collection of things, they mention that there's a lot of times where certain objects that may feel haunted or possessed to some people or otherwise linked to like disturbing things can actually be attributed to a person's like own attitude, or they're like projecting these things on towards this object. And when it comes into their possession, nothing really happens except with this effigy. Now, they take this approach as, they're going to investigate what's going on with this object, the history behind it, and they even have an open mind behind it. And they started having the same instances and occurrences happening in their home that the previous hikers had. Now, the good thing about them is that they are more knowledgeable in it. They knew to put it in a box, wrap it up, contain it. And they actually use a really interesting method. Now, if you guys are huge nerds, which I hope you are, if you've ever watched any of the paranormal ghost hunters or anything, and they use where they use a spirit box, they actually have an interesting take on it. It's called the Estes method. Now, the Estes method is where you have somebody who wears a headset, where it's kind of like one of those sound blocking headsets, and they wear a like an eye cover, almost
like a
like
VR
almost like
headset or like a blindfold.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
it's like
like
a
sensory
blindfold.
deprivation.
Yeah. And so they're listening to the spirit box only. And the people on the outside are answering questions. So the person, if they're listening to the spirit box, they say the words that they hear. And the one that Dana does is so interesting. And she actually has sensations on her body while she's doing it. And it's so cool. There's no way, like, it's so cool. You guys have to watch it. It's really neat. So I definitely recommend that movie. You guys definitely need to check out The Unbinding. It's on Amazon. If I ever got to meet Dana and Greg, I'd probably be like, "Oh my god, you guys are so cool."
Yeah, plus it's cool that it's a true story, or it's not made up. There's no fancy, but I
No.
mean, if you've watched any of these other paranormal investigator shows, this one actually doesn't spend all the time with two guys really close to the camera going, "Did you hear that?
I see orbs. Did you see that orb? Orb.
EJ.
There's an orb.
And you don't hear anything because they're right up in the camera talking to it the whole time.
It
Like,
was
oh my
horrible.
god, I just heard that. And you're like, I didn't hear shit because you were talking. That's we don't like watching those shows, but this was actually really done really well.
Yeah.
They approach it like a lot of gathering of evidence and trying to make sure that they're collecting all the sides of the story, so that it's not just like, oh, Jeff said he saw a monster one time under his bed. Well, then it's got to be true.
We got to go check it
It's
out.
all got to be true.
We need
So
cameras, night
they
vision.
go with a little more support, and then the fact that his wife Anna is very into witchcraft and understands a lot of the occult and practices daily and has her own, classes that she teaches and so forth. It's not just someone who thinks it's cool and dabbles in it. It's someone that's actually knowledgeable and educated in that department and doesn't play like, hey, I'm a crazy witch. No, they just she just does. That's part of her spirituality. So it's not approached like I need attention. It's approached as, hey, this is my life, this is my lifestyle, this is my beliefs, and that way it doesn't feel faked or forced. I in my opinion, I thought it was good.
Well, you can definitely tell that she is knowledgeable in witchcraft because the way that she approaches things, like, oh, we need to do this and this and this, and I love how the guys, even if you go back and watch Hellier, which again I haven't finished it, I think we have an episode or two left. She's very knowledgeable, and the guys they follow her lead when it comes to that stuff. She definitely knows what she is doing.
Yeah.
In that aspect, like if you call upon spirits, you definitely need to make offerings and have some form of protection and stuff when you do that. So again, highly recommend. Try out Trick or Treat if you guys have never watched it. Check out The Taking of Deborah Logan and check out The Unbinding, my friends.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Jeff, we're gonna try out your mic and see if you're robotic again. You ready?
Hey,
Sorry,
if
buddy.
I'm robotic again, y'all just gonna have to suck it up.
Yeah, just go with it. Roll with it.
All right, let's go then,
Own
Jeff.
it.
What you got for your cult classic Western something or another
Wes
movie?
Craven, hello.
There we go, Wes Craven. That's the words.
So this
the
movie spawned multiple movies to follow and multiple what's the word I'm looking for? Spoof movies. And we're gonna talk about Scream. 96. It's hard to believe it's been that long.
Holy shit!
And I think they just released like part 8 earlier this year.
I thought it was 17. It's 8. I'm just joking.
Part
What?
97.
I'm just joking. I was like, I thought it was Scream 17.
I don't know. I think it's
It could
8.
be.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know how many there are.
So I mean, this movie had a who's who. It was. I mean, we're talking like, well, these kids were also supposed to pass as high schoolers, which was typical 30 somethings and late 20 somethings playing high school kids. I mean, we got Drew Barrymore, Nev Campbell, Skeet Ulrich, Rose McGowan, Matthew Lillard, and Jamie Kennedy, who I think were all in their 20s or
late 20s, early 30s.
And then we also had Courtney Cox and David Arquette, who were probably in their
30s,
early
40s.
30s or 40s.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But it was just one of those movies that I felt like it changed the game of horror and what we see horror as. I mean, yes, we had a person killing people.
A scary movie. Oh my god.
Exactly. So this is the point, that this movie gave us Scary Movie 2, Scary Movie 3, Scary Movie 4. And then those movies spun off and gave us Not Another Teen Movie and all that freaking spoof movies. Mm-hmm. This is what brought it all about, was this single movie by Wes Craven. Now, do I think Wes Craven would have made this movie if he knew it was going to produce a bunch of garbage after the fact? Probably not. That it is what it is. I think Wes Craven's one of those guys who's like ahead of his time when it came to the scary movie genre. and just horror in general, from his books to his movies. Which, if you don't know, he does have books out as well. For those who are into books, he has some anthologies,
I
and
didn't know that.
they are scary as shit. Like, you will read those sons of bitches in the light because they are that creepy.
I mean, he
Gotta
gave
read
us
them
the
during the
original
daytime.
Nightmare on Elm Street. You know,
Yeah,
he invented that Freddy and the whole idea of someone killing you in your sleep. You know,
yeah.
and you
He
die
he
for real.
he
He's a
made the man
master
who
of
invaded your
horror.
nightmares.
Yeah.
So,
Love that.
since I didn't get the early memo that we were doing more than one, while Jen was doing her thing, I went and looked up some more stuff that I think you may be interested in or would like to possibly look up.
But
And one of my what?
can we talk about Scream a little more though?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about. What do you want to talk about?
So
Because I'm really not
so
like.
my favorite death scene in this whole movie was when Rose McGowan gets gets put
door?
into the garage door. And she's just like,
It's the best one.
It
was
really is.
It
it
is.
was so fake. It was the best.
I
And
mean,
then the ending where he's like, "You stabbed me too deep, man."
yeah.
I'm like, "Oh my
Matthew
god!"
Lillard
That was
the
totally different,
best.
though. It was a
It
different
really
type
was.
of ending. I
Mhm.
mean, the
'Cause,
bad
I
guys
mean,
get revealed to be two people you've known from the beginning that you
yeah,
thought were, part of the
Yeah.
victims, and they plotted out the whole thing. So it was a really cool twist then, in
it really
'96.
was.
Mhm.
And it's one of those where Wes Craven reinvented the game of what we call horror movies.
Well,
But yeah,
he did the whole, only the version survives, where Nev Campbell's character Sydney,
well,
has sex
Sydney's in
with.
part 8.
Yeah. So again, like you were saying, like redefine the whole horror genre where, the innocent, virginal young girl lives like a Jamie Lee Curtis's character in Halloween. And that,
Well, she had
it
to be,
breaks that.
so she wasn't exactly a virgin.
Yeah. But I love that. I love that they changed that for them,
Yeah.
and that,
Yeah, yeah.
I also
and
love how
she
iconic the mask is.
I mean,
Like
yeah,
the mask
people are
oh
herself.
still
yeah.
cosplaying with the mask, and that mask is iconic. And I think the original mask has been it's in one of the museums out in LA right now. The original. So the
Oh.
whole suit, the whole knife, like everything related to it is in the
Yeah.
museum, encapsulated forever.
It's
Yeah.
it's definitely a genre changing event because you had two serial killers together. How many other movies do you have two serial killers working
Was there
together?
2 or was it 3 of them
There's
working
2.
together?
2. Matthew Lillard
Well,
and
they
Steve
don't
Orr
expose
was
the
the
third
Okay.
person until the second movie. So it's
Okay,
like
yeah.
where's his
by
mom.
proxy, basically by proxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but originally it's just the two, but still, as you find out later, it's multiple. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was totally unheard of before. You usually had one big bad guy that
Mhm.
was out there
Who was
slashing everybody.
indestructible, like Freddy Krueger, indestructible. Jason
Man.
Voorhees, indestructible. Michael Myers. But these are just 2 high school kids who are being a bunch of fucking jerk offs, Like, hey, I think we can get away with murder if we follow these simple steps.
Yeah.
So,
And I love that Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox came back.
Yeah.
I love
time and again,
that
yeah.
I love that they reprised their roles again and again. They came back for like these recent movies, and I love seeing them again. Like they were some
Mhm.
of my most favorite characters. Like I adore like Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox, and I just
So
love
Nev
seeing them
Campbell is
again.
in shit, the movie on the TV show on Peacock, Twisted Metal,
Oh, okay.
off the video game. She's basically she's one of the city leaders who has participated in the tournament.
Mm.
So if you haven't checked that out, that's a phenomenal show as well.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. I haven't checked it out because I've been super scared to, because Twisted Metal was my childhood game. So
They
I was
did
like,
not do
how
it wrong. They did
how
not do it wrong.
Yeah, I
They
played
did
it on PlayStation
fantastic.
1. Like, that's when
Yeah.
I started playing it,
Yeah.
so
They didn't do it bad, so go check it out.
okay.
You'll like it. I absolutely loved it, and it's one of my favorite WWE, AEW superstars playing the clown. So you'll love it.
Okay.
He doesn't voice the clown. He's just the body.
Oh, 80.
Yeah, those movies
The new
are
ones were
bad.
better. The new ones were a little better.
Yeah, they are what they are. It,
Mortal.
although I enjoyed the Mortal Kombat movies, but hey, I look at movies simpler than people. I look at a movie and go, "Did this movie entertain me for an hour and a half?" Yes.
Okay.
Please turned it off.
Ooh, Kim made a really good point. Kim, I'm glad you brought that up, my friend. The Raven. Raven is an excellent movie.
Excellent.
If you guys are
Excellent.
really into Edgar Allan Poe, and I'm a huge John Cusack fan, since you guys
Yeah.
were talking about House of Usher,
It's
yeah, it is
done
really
well.
good. Like, yeah.
Have you
They
seen the
actually
Kit and the
follow a
Pendulum?
lot of his life story. Like, so John Cusack's playing very literally Edgar Allan Poe from his, biography, the way he grew up, how his life was.
Mhm.
So it's a very cool perspective to walk into that movie, and whoever wrote that did their research, plus also made it interesting enough to follow. As an actual horror movie, it's a good movie.
Yeah, it was. Just-
That's
I'm
true.
watching it. I'm on episode 2.
I
I'm
will.
getting
I
to
will
it.
definitely.
Yeah.
It's just a
All
slow
right.
go.
All right, Jeff. What else you got for your choices that
So
you researched?
I'm gonna come back to this one. I'm gonna go with some more Wes Craven and go seen them. I recommend The People Under the Stairs,
Oh.
1991. Um, this has some Ving Rhames in it,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's one of those where and you're like, the fuck is going on? But then you realize that the mom and dad in this movie because they're inbred.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Yeah.
That right there makes it. You're like, oh.
Oh, yikes. Oh, God.
I don't recommend
You
that movie.
say it. Yes, it is absolutely fucking weird, but it is a great movie. It really is. Mind on it. It is actually a great movie.
Awesome. I have to check it out. I mean, I think that I saw that one on Amazon Prime too, so I have to check that out.
Yep.
I mean, of all the horror movies, everyone always brings it up, and I must have missed it somehow. High school, not really paying attention much.
Uh-huh.
Probably high.
I was gonna say, uh-huh.
Probably
So
Oh, my
or
God.
or rested. Who knows? There's so much fun in high school.
staying with the Wes Craven feel, my next one is the original The Hills Have Eyes. 1
Hmm.
and 2. Again, we're talking about some incestuous cannibals in the desert.
Hey, 6 Degrees of Separation. Isn't
And
Vanessa Shaw
Michael
in that movie?
Berryman is in this as well. He plays and again, I believe it's only a female survives this movie. So there you go.
Vanessa Shaw. Vanessa Shaw.
Yeah.
Recommend, and this movie was done again. Don't watch that one. It's complete garbage. I highly recommend you go watch the 1972 left.
Jeff,
If
can you
you
say that name again? Because you broke up a little bit.
1972. What'd you say?
the last house on the left.
On the left. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
It was.
That's a brutal
It was.
movie too. That's a tough one.
Are you talking about the Jennifer Lawrence one or?
Fuck no.
Oh, I like
We're
that
not talking
movie.
about that 2009 movie. We're talking about 1972.
Is that
The
in color?
No. I want to say black and white, but I think it's been digitally remastered into color. And when they redone in 2009, doesn't have the controversy around it that the original does. The original depicts some stuff that we're not going to talk about here, but the movie itself is phenomenal. It definitely, you couldn't get away with making this movie today. That's why you got the two. So I'll leave it at that.
Gotcha.
But it is really good. I thought, because this is a Wes Craven film, and again, he gave you something where this could actually fucking happen to you.
Mm-hmm. That's the scary part.
And that's the scary part of it. And like I said, this one was loosely based on true stories. He kind of like took some true stories and molded them into this movie and popped it out to people. But the last one I wanted to recommend, if you've never watched it, this one, but it is The Island of Dr. Monroe.
The original?
The original is fantastic, but this is the
remake.
The Val Kilmer one?
1996. I like the original a lot better, but the one with Val Kilmer is still pretty on par
It has
with
really good practical effects.
It does.
One Val Kilmer and Marlon Brando.
Yep.
Fairuza Balk.
Faruqa Vault. Yep.
She's in there. My girl from The Craft.
I didn't know that.
Shout out to
It's
The
been
Craft.
so long since I saw it. I mean, it was definitely interesting to see the makeup though with a lot of the children of Dr. Moreau when you go.
And we also got
she's a
Tamira Derek Morrison. And if you know who that is, then I'll give you a big thumbs up. But if you don't know who he is Boba. And he's all the clones, technically.
Okay. Okay.
From Star Wars.
Like
He's
the
in
book
it.
of Boba Fett, or like?
Yeah, he literally plays all the clones.
Okay.
Like they took him and then they CG'd him. It made him. Like he plays all the clones.
Okay.
They cloned him. It's a clone. Man, that's like a clone within a clone. It's cloning.
But yeah, that is my last recommendation. Is The Island of Dr. Monroe. It's a H.G. Wells book.
Good movie.
And movie. And it is fantastic. Check it out.
Okay.
Reading Rainbow.
The more you know.
The more you know.
All right.
Sorry, EJ, the book is better.
It's always better. Books are the best,
the book
dude.
is always better.
Books,
like I said, the book is better. But if you're gonna watch it, watch
better.
This one.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and go into my choice, unless anybody has anything else to say. Okay. Cool. So Tay's choice, my choice. All right. So we're gonna go into the way back, back in the '80s of Beetlejuice.
What? You picked Beetlejuice? Ah!
So I picked Beetlejuice.
This
was released in 1988. The synopsis is that Adam and Barbara die. And then they haunt their old home to get rid of the bad mom from Home Alone, because she's a terrible mom, and her husband.
The fucking worst.
Yeah. So this was directed by Tim Burton. If you guys don't know who Tim Burton is, Edward Scissorhands, James the Giant Peach. That's just just some of the few. The music was by Danny Elfman. If you don't know who Danny Elfman is, we also talked about his music a little bit earlier with the Night Before Christmas was one of his soundtracks. So some of the faces that you can see in this movie, you have Alec Baldwin, who is Adam. The first time that I remember seeing him is Cat in the Hat. Not that great of a movie, but that's how I remember him. Anytime I see him, I think of Cat in the Hat. And then you have Gina Davis, who plays Barbara, his
I love some Gina Davis.
bride. And
She's
the first
so
time I
cute.
remember seeing her is Stuart Little. If any of you have seen that.
I'm like, whoa, yeah,
I was
I do.
thinking Thelma and Louise, I thought.
I remember her from The Fly. The
Yeah.
original
Fly,
Fly movie.
yeah.
I
with,
remember her from The Fly.
Jeff Goldblum.
Okay.
Fucking classic.
Okay. That's interesting.
Classic.
Okay.
So there's a degree of horror right there. Just
You also have Michael Keaton himself playing Beetlegeist. Who is he?
Beetlegeist.
Batman. He's Batman.
Batman.
And then you have Winona Ryder, who plays Lydia. She's also in Edward Scissorhands and also Stranger Things, the badass
Burton.
mom. Yes.
And Edward Scissorhands, Tim Burton, and then back to Nightmare Before Christmas, Tim Burton.
Yes.
Tim.
See?
Just like
right?
Oh my gosh.
It's just full circle. All right. So some fun facts about this movie. It's Michael Keaton's favorite film that he has done. It's his own favorite film. Michael Keaton also ad-libbed 90% of his lines.
I'm not surprised.
Which
That's
nobody is
bad.
surprised about, right? Like Michael Keaton ad-libbing 90% of his lines. You're like, yeah, that checks. This was the film was actually the first DVD that was sent out by Netflix in 1998. When Adam and Barbara were actually in the office to see their case file person lady. Oh, hey, Calvin.
Hey, what up, brother?
Hey, Kaylee.
What up, buddy?
The voice on the PA system actually says Flight 409 is arriving at Gate 3. And the reason why this is so important is because the United States Flight 409 actually crashed into a mountain in Wyoming on September 6th, 1955. This killed all of the passengers and crew on board, which is a total of 66 people. At that time, it was the worst plane crash in history. And to this day, no one actually knows why it crashed. Ooh, fun
Nice
fact, right?
catch.
There was a plan for a sequel. It was called Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. At this time, they had Keaton and Ryder, so Winona Ryder, both signed to reprise their roles. However, Burton actually lost interest in this movie because he was doing Batman, which came out in 1989, and then Batman Returns in 1992. But if you guys do not know somehow, there is a Beetlejuice 2 coming out, and it is set to hit theaters on September 6th, 2024, bearing any more COVID outbreaks, right? This actually has Winona Ryder and Michael Keaton, as well as Catherine O'Hara, who is the Home Alone mom that I talked about earlier, reprising their roles. The title...
Jenna Ortiz in it?
Wednesday?
Yes.
Yeah.
Plays Wednesday. Yeah.
I was just talking about the people that were in the
I
original.
didn't
That
know.
were
Yeah, I was like,
roles.
Sorry, I got a little
Yes.
excited.
No, you're good. Wednesday, yes. She is planning to be actually Lydia's daughter in this. So Winona Ryder's daughter, if y'all didn't know, which actually like makes a lot of sense because the both of them look actually quite similar, which is actually like really cool and bizarre.
they're very goth.
Yes, they are.
Oh god.
Inner goth. The title character, who's Beetlegeist, is actually named after the bright red star in the constellation of Orion. Fun fact as well. And this was Tim Burton's first movie where he actually won an Oscar.
Hell yeah.
So
funny story.
Go for
New York
it.
Comic-Con this year had a Beetlejuice exclusive foil. This is number 6 of 160 that were produced.
Yo, that's dope as fuck.
The
And
sandworm.
And this was like released this year at New York Comic Con. I had to like the moment I seen this, I had to pick it up,
Mm-hmm.
and it was
You're right,
like
Black.
a must have. So
Love it.
that will be going off to get graded and encapsulated forever, so it doesn't get fucking ruined. Because that is one of those where it's like number 6 of 160.
That
So
is so
it's pretty cool to
wild.
own that
Yeah,
and just come across it coincidentally. So
dude, that's
Yep.
dope as fuck.
It
sorry,
is.
I didn't mean to take over, but that just
No,
reminded me
No,
that
no,
I
that's
no,
just
no,
got
you're
that.
good. I was actually at the end of my notes for Beetlejuice, so if anybody had anything to add before I go into my recommendations, now is the time.
So,
But yeah, that
fun
was cool
fact.
to find.
So, fun fact about your girl Jennifer, Winona Ryder. I was actually so in love with her character. That's actually the first time that I dyed my hair black. My hair is not black because I think Eric would like it very much, but I started dyeing my hair black. And those of you who don't know, I'm a bit goth in my aesthetics. But
I'm not
anyways,
against that. Just barely. You know.
what? Um, she's definitely attributed to that, and I actually
What's up,
grew
bro?
up watching the cartoon of Beetlejuice.
Oh
If
yeah,
you
the
guys have
cartoon.
never
That
seen,
was a funny.
I
Yes.
didn't even know there was a
absolutely loved
cartoon.
it.
Yes.
Yes, there's
Huh.
a Beetlejuice cartoon, and it's mostly Winona Ryder's character and then Michael Keaton's character. I mean, they're not voiced by them, obviously, but watch that. I mean, I've seen every episode. I couldn't tell you what happened now because I watched it.
Yes,
So
it's in
yes,
It's
it's
in
in color.
color.
Shut up, AD.
Oh,
I
fuck,
see you.
AD.
I see
We
you,
ain't that
AD.
old.
You're in so much trouble,
God bless.
Yes. Where you at? Where you at?
He's gonna come and get you now.
It's in color, but it is.
Oh
so,
shit.
Shame.
he's not wrong. Oh, come on, that was in the 90s. They had color TV.
Oh my god. Oh fuck. All
Tay,
right.
we need you to do us a favor. Reach
No,
over
I
to
cannot.
AD,
And I'm
pat him
dead.
on the back, and go, "It'll be okay." Until Jen curses him later.
First of all,
Maybe you
80,
gotta watch over your shoulder, dude. Just constantly
80
like,
was born in the 80s, so he
Throw
very
some
much
salt
knows
over.
that things were in color at that
you at least
time.
expect it.
So Kaylee's right. Kaylee says it's a Saturday morning cartoon, and yeah, okay. I was very much one of those Saturday morning cartoon kids, and that was one of the ones that I watched religiously. It was one that I did not miss because I absolutely love Beetlejuice. It was a great show. I mean, if you guys like, spend your time watching like some old school cartoons, it's definitely one that I would recommend because I love Beetlejuice. I have Beetlejuice memorabilia. I mean, gotta love him.
I mean, I
might
just dropped
actually
like
have to go
50
find
bucks
that
on a
now.
comic book, so
That was only
I don't blame you.
$50?
And it's
Shit.
foil. It's fucking
I know.
foil, dude. That's crazy.
I had about like 3 of them.
dude, that was just for the
Wow.
one was 50 bucks. Or it was either 40 or 50. I can't remember which.
I had about 3, and
But I also got some other ones like New York Comic Con exclusives on the way. But that was the one that, like, without hesitation, I hit buy now. I didn't even look at the price until after the fact.
Did you squeak when you did it? Like, oh,
Like a little girl.
Just like you, Jen.
Just like
hey,
that.
thing is
That's
awesome.
exactly
do.
how I sounded
I
when I
would've.
seen it. I was
That's
like,
awesome.
oh!
I mean, it's definitely worth that amount.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And especially because there's a limited amount. You can only
Yeah.
imagine what the resale on
I
that's
thought it'd
going
be like
to be.
5 times that amount to buy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna have to find that cartoon now because I'm very curious
Yes.
on your recommendation. So I'm
yeah.
gonna have to look into that because I had no idea.
All right. Sorry, Taylor.
Yes.
Continue with your recommendations, madame.
Right. So I have 3 total recommendations that I'm just gonna go ahead and throw out there. No, you might just get Michael Keaton to sign it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Good.
Dude,
Yeah.
if I ever find Michael Keaton to sign that book, I will literally come on here, do a whole live, just to rub it the fuck in. I met Michael Keaton and he signed my fucking book. Ah! That would be me. And then the show would end and that would be it.
Yeah.
There wouldn't need to be anything else.
No.
And they were like, oh, he finally got to get Michael Keaton to sign his book. But now I'm going to be on the lookout for the next Michael Keaton sign-in and see if I can't get it mailed in.
Or just
That's just pettiness.
Gotham.
That is
You
just
went streaking
pettiness,
in Gotham,
Kelvin.
Batman's going to show up to whoop your ass anyway. And then afterwards, you just be like, sign a comic.
All I heard was we're going streaking through the quad. I better not be the only one that shows up.
Whoa, no, I'm good. I'm good off that.
Jaywalk, anything in Gotham. And then Batman will come and you just get him to sign it.
Yeah. I'll jaywalk. That sounds like something more like I would do.
Or we could just walk. I mean,
I'm not streaking.
He might hit you with the Batmobile and then you could just lay on the ground and come and sign it for you.
Batmobile hit me.
I got the streak mark of the tire to show.
That's the tread right there.
That's the tread of the Batmobile.
That's the tread
Rob's
right
got my
there.
back. Rob's got my back.
Rob does have your back. Good for
Both
you
of you
guys.
be in the hospital and then moved over to Arkham together.
Why is it called jaywalking? Jaywalking? I don't know. Maybe because
jaywalking
is.
It's when you walk across the road without it being a crosswalk.
Well, no, I mean, like, why is it called that though? Like, because you're
know.
diagonally walking, like Harry Potter, like diagonally, like you're diagonally walking.
Hashtag worst streaking ever.
That would be the worst streaking event because you end up with Batman beating your ass naked.
If you and Rob did it, Jeff would be glowing in the dark. And then Rob,
you'd have your foil. You just have.
That's just wrong, Jen, on so many levels.
Yeah. Hey, he's justice, dude. He doesn't care if you're naked. Justice comes after you, naked or not. Okay.
Naked and afraid? No, naked or not.
Naked or not. Let's do this.
Yes, I guess.
What is sea walking?
Are you talking about the dance move?
AD, handle that. Tell her what sea walking is, good buddy.
Crip walking.
He's laughing at me, but I don't know why.
AD, demonstrate.
All right. So,
on with your recommendations.
My recommendations.
3 recommendations.
Focus.
So my first one is Van Helsing. Came out in 2004. It's got Hugh Jackman and Kate Beckinsale in it. So Hugh Jackman plays the monster hunter that is like looking for Dracula, who is using like Dr. Frankenstein like stuff, like I don't know, what do you want to call it? He's using Dr. Frankenstein like formulas to like be like the elite monster. So some fun facts about this. The place where Van Helsing and Anna, who is Kate Beckinsale, fight the Dracula's 3 brides that he has that are like way over the top, actually was the same place where
won't complain about them.
Dracula in 1931, Frankenstein in 1931, and the Wolfman in 1941 were filmed. The set is actually called the Court of Miracles, and it's actually a studio tour in in the United States, in the United States, but in the Universal Studios Hollywood.
Oh wow!
It's in Georgia, isn't it? Oh, go ahead. Everything's filmed in Georgia.
I know it's all in Georgia. Like
it's all in Georgia or Canada. Damn it!
Well, you know why everything's filmed in Georgia now, right?
Peaches?
Because of the film costs.
Yeah, they get so if they come to Georgia and film, they give them tax incentives to write off.
Okay,
thus making it cheaper to film there.
That's interesting. I mean, but this is all the way back in 2004. Was that the same in 1931?
Yeah. Georgia made that deal back in the 90s, if I remember right.
Huh.
That's why if you see little Georgia Peach pop up on their stuff, on anything, shows, there's so much that gets filmed there because they get that tax break and they get to write off a lot of the entertainment costs so far as like catering, equipment use, like power bills and stuff. A lot of that stuff is all written off in Georgia for cost of creation. So it was a big deal made. Florida turned it down
Yeah,
because
they
Florida's
did.
stupid.
Well,
But
Florida
dumb.
has Disney, so they didn't
Yeah.
worry about it.
but they turned down the movies because it actually was brought to them as a possibility too. Like when you saw the Thomas Jane Punisher movie was filmed in Tampa, and it was going to start this whole thing where they were going to film in the South because it's cheaper than filming in New York or San Francisco. They could do enough to the buildings to make you think that it's some other city. But Florida turned it down because Florida's stupid. But
And they got Disney.
yeah, and then now Florida's so stupid they're trying to crap on Disney. So, anyway, Georgia ended up getting it. So that's why we have Walking Dead in Georgia. You have like 180 different TV shows filmed in Georgia. And they say they're like, CSI Miami or CSI New York, and you're like, that's Georgia.
That's interesting, Rob. I didn't know that.
I don't believe that's a good move. Smart man.
Yep.
Tyler,
There you go.
very smart
And he
man.
probably got it for like dirt cheap too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
None of the
$1.45.
buildings work.
Right.
Yeah. You know, I really enjoyed the I'm a huge vampire fan, so I really enjoyed the vampires in this movie. I know like all of the like transformations and everything were CGI, but I really enjoyed his brides.
I still think it's like super well done.
It
Like
held up pretty
the
good.
Go back
babies
and
and
watch
everything and
it.
their
Yeah.
coons, like it
Being
was
that it's
really
almost 20 years old, it held up really good.
Yeah,
his
although
brides were phenomenal.
Plus,
There was-
I like the mythos they brought into it between Van Helsing and Dracula and the big sculpture and everything, and the ice, and I thought it was kind of cool that they took it all the way back to the medieval, Prince of Wallachia or whatever.
Mhm.
I can't speak
Can't
Eastern
remember.
European.
It's okay, neither can I. It's
Yeah.
okay.
I got a D in that class.
But I like how he kind of depicts his brides as almost like lionesses. Like he sends them out to like
His
get
hunters.
food and like terrorize the town folk and everything. And I like the story. Yeah, I remember that, Kate Lee. They didn't really get very good reviews, and that
And I
was
mean,
actually
even
when
still to this day, it doesn't actually
So
get
the
good
books
reviews.
in the
No.
TV series is actually pretty good too.
Yeah,
The
I've
TV
heard the
series,
TV
much like
series
The
was
Walking
good.
Dead, it has its moments where it's slow as
Yeah.
fuck, but it's
Right.
still really good.
The thing about like shows and movies and everything, and everybody's like, oh, it's slow. Well, sometimes
You have the
that's
character build.
story building. Yeah, you have to build your characters. It
Yeah.
can't be like I don't like movies that's like right out of the bat like action. Like I do appreciate a good story, and and it kind of does like a slow build. Like I can still appreciate that. Like if you're boring me and I'm ready to scratch my eyes out, that's a different story. But
It Follows.
AD
Terrible movie.
What
Such
is
a
that your
terrible
favorite?
movie. ST Demon is what we call it. 'cause
Yeah,
it's the ST.
supernatural STDs.
It's actually terrifying to me.
I didn't watch it, so I'm.
It's a
I'm gonna.
terrible
was all right.
movie, but it got like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was just
I like the idea of it. I mean, the acting could have been improved, of course, but they were new actors. They tried to pick people probably without, you don't want to put Brad Pitt in that movie and pretend he's in, 12th grade. It's kind
Yeah.
not Kids 101. No.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know
man.
if a condom would help.
Oh,
Anyways.
probably not. So
No.
a couple of other fun facts about this movie is that during filming, Hugh Jackman actually broke a extra's hand.
Savage.
Savage. And
Didn't
then
get his
Dr.
Marmite
Frankenstein's lab was actually equipped with antique medical equipment that they purchased on eBay.
That's pretty cool that they went out like that and did it.
Right. I thought it was pretty neat.
As long as they cleaned it.
I'd hate that job.
So my second recommendation, which is the one that I'm going to gush about for a little bit because I was researching this and I nerded out. This is amazing, and I'm just gonna preference that real quick. Oculus. Have any of you seen Oculus?
That's a good movie.
Such a great movie, right?
Mhm.
Isn't that Nebula?
Yes,
Yes.
it is. I was literally gonna say that next. Who the person,
I'm
the main
sorry.
actress in it is actually Karen Gillian, who is Nebula. Um,
So
it came
weird.
out in 2013. The synopsis that I just put in it to not like spoil it for anybody that
Bo-Katan's in
hasn't
it
seen it.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Oh,
Katie
yeah, the
Sackhoff,
Yeah.
right. She
damn, she
is.
is. Damn,
part
I
of
see
that
you,
2%.
Bo-Katan.
damn.
And
So
if you know, you know.
the synopsis that I wrote for this is mirrors be wildin', just because like I didn't want to uh ruin it for anybody that hasn't seen it, but it is such a great movie. The director is somebody who you guys might not know, but once you know it, you know it. His name is Mike Flanagan.
Oh yeah.
Is actually the guy who did Oculus. And if you don't know who that is also the person that does The Fall of the House of Usher, which now we're going to get
Ooh.
into. So, the director has included the Oculus mirror as an Easter egg in most of his films and TV shows.
Mm.
I see you,
So,
Mike.
it's in the basement of Ouija, The Origins of Evil. It's in the headboard of Gerald's Game. It's in the walls of the house, The Haunting of Hill House,
What?
and it's in the Overlook Hotel in Doctor Sleep. It is also in the House of Usher.
Oh
I'm just going
wow.
to put that out there. If you
I
haven't
didn't
seen
know
it,
he did Doctor Sleep. That's awesome.
Mike,
yeah,
I'm gonna keep my eye on you, Mike.
Mike
yeah.
Flanagan, everyone.
So
Mike
I didn't
Flanagan.
know he did all those.
right,
Oh
he
yeah,
is
that's
a
awesome.
phenomenal director, and like
Yeah.
just the fact that he literally uses this mirror, this Oculus mirror, and pretty
Mhm.
much anything that he directs is breathtakingly beautiful. And so this is where I nerded out, and I went and I like researched, and I went onto YouTube, and I actually found where
Oh
they
no.
used it in The Fall of the House of Usher. Um, so did he do Glass Onion? I don't think so. I don't think so. No. I will get back to you, Kim, on who actually directed that, but I do not think it was him. Um, but I will get back to you. It's the same person that did Knives Out. If you haven't seen Glass Onion, it's the sequel of Knives Out. Both are
Mhm.
also phenomenal movies, and the Glass Onion is actually on Netflix right now as well.
That's actually Rian Johnson directed Glass Onion.
So
Oh
you
yeah,
you said that he used this Oculus is in all his movies.
yeah, and
So
TV shows.
it's similar to the 1973 Oldsmobile Delta 88 that makes an appearance in The Evil Dead.
And most of Sam Raimi's movies.
Every single one of Sam Raimi's movies.
I
But Sam
love that.
Raimi did the
It's an ugly boat of a car.
it's a yellow car
Yeah, it's a yellow
and
beast.
it makes an appearance in every single one of Sam Raimi's movies.
Kim actually saw the mirror, so that, yeah,
I have to check this out, man.
it's
You guys
pretty
are making us
cool.
want to watch Fall House of Usher right now.
I
I'm watching it right now. As
loved
soon as
it.
we're off here, actually, I'm gonna go watch it.
Dang.
Yeah. Super great show. If you, actually like it is a horror type show, so definitely recommend it.
Just what I
Um,
seen off of episode 1
yeah,
was crazy, and if the rest of the series is like that, then
yeah, it is actually also in
yes.
Midnight Mass. If you haven't seen that as well, that is also a good
Mm.
show that is on Netflix.
I watched a
Um,
couple episodes. So I don't know why I stopped.
So the Fall of the House of Usher, actually, like each episode is named after an Edgar Allan
hmm
short story.
I did notice that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and
that.
that actual episode goes into kind of like resembling that
Like the
short
LaRue
story.
Morgue and the Telltale Heart and
Yep,
Black Dog,
yep,
all that stuff.
yep. Yeah,
Ooh.
super great. So this was the one thing that I was like, I need to gush about this because holy shit.
Yeah, that's
When I found
amazing.
that
Oh
out,
yeah.
I was like, I need to do a bunch of research, and it was really great.
You know what I did like about Oculus is
What?
that how it drained the energy
The
of
plants.
li-
The
of the
plants.
plants. And it did it
Yes.
to the dog. I remember that. Like I
Yes.
haven't seen that movie in a while, but I remember like it drained the energy of the plant, and then I think it started doing it to the dog. And
Mhm.
at first, I kind of thought the sister was a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. She's like, "Watch, just watch." So, and then you like seeing like the plants dying, and then like I think I remember, guys, correct me. Like then the dog, I think the dog
Mhm.
died. Yeah, and
Yep.
then like the dog
They
died, and
had
I'm
a
like,
dog growing up too, and that's why she got the dog, was because she was actually
yeah,
trying to say that her brother didn't kill their parents.
right,
As a synopsis, I'm not going to say much more after that, but
right,
the reason why all of this was happening was because she wanted to prove it was the mirror. It was the mirror that
right.
did all of this. So like the temperature changed, and they had like the thermal cameras. She had like timers and everything set.
She
Such a
was
great
prepared.
movie. Such a
Yeah,
great
it
movie.
was. I remember that came out. I think we went to the theaters
Yeah, I think
and
we
watched
did.
that. Yeah, it was a really good movie. Yeah, I highly recommend that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
good
I'm gonna check
pick,
that out.
Tay. Good
Good pick.
pick, girl.
Nailed
I
it.
like that.
So I actually have 3 more fun facts about this movie because
Oh,
there are
sorry,
so
honey.
many. No, 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 it's all good. But there are so many fun facts and good trivia about this movie, that I wanted to talk about, like, just a couple more. So
Okay.
this is actually Karen Gillian's first American role ever. Like, this is her first American role. Um,
Oh, okay.
Yo,
Is it
she's got
after
a
Doctor Who?
so she was actually picked as the first choice to play Kaylee because Mike Flanagan was such a big fan of her Doctor Who work.
Okay.
Yes.
her backstory is really sad, and I'm glad she's doing great now.
I don't know her backstory.
So she lost her parents and her brother. I think, like, I forgot, she lost her parents at one point, and then it was on one of her birthdays. Her brother passed as well,
Oh my God.
and then it was shortly after that she got her first starring role,
Mm.
and it all kind of happened like boom, boom, boom. So
That's
Wow.
terrible.
That's wild.
My
That's
goodness.
that's so sad. But anyway, on to better, happier things.
Happier notes.
Oculus was actually filmed. How many? Who wants to guess? And how many days do you think this movie was filmed? Because it's in days,
3,
not weeks.
3.
No, it's more.
Aw.
Anybody
14.
else?
Oh,
Nope, more.
yeah.
EJ, what you got?
5.
24.
Oh,
Only filmed in 24 days. This entire movie was just
AD
filmed.
is like 666. Crazy.
That would be in full though.
Yeah. So it was only filmed in 24 days, and I thought that was like pretty neat.
that is.
Yeah. So my last recommendation that I have for y'all is The Boogeyman. This is a remake.
Yeah.
It came out in 2023. So this year. Jen, you good? I hope I do this justice. So it's pretty much the synopsis is a dad that just doesn't believe in his daughters until it's too late. He just doesn't listen to them. Their mother passed, and they're all going through, that very dark time in your lives when tragedy hits. But then his youngest daughter starts seeing things, and they're seeing like a therapist. Go see a therapist, obviously, right? Um, and then the older daughter starts seeing the things as well. So it's a very good movie. So Boogeyman is actually a film adaptation of a short story that is written by the none other than Stephen King. Yes,
The
it is
King.
so good.
Stephen King.
Yes.
The king. He is the king.
This short story was originally featured in March of 1973, and it was the issue of the Calaver magazine.
You're right, AD.
I see you, ED.
Listen to your kids.
Listen to your kids.
Unless they're full
Um,
of shit, and then don't.
And then this was a collection of short stories that were all written by King, and this was just one of them that was just in there, and they made this into an actual movie. One other like cool thing that I found about this movie is that there's a painting of a turtle that's visible in the Harper's home, and the turtle actually holds an important place in Stephen King's lore.
Huh?
I didn't go too far into that, just because I thought that was going to be a rabbit hole, and we still have to go through
Oh,
EJ
it is.
choices.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, so if you
I'm
guys
definitely
don't
gonna look
know,
into
go
that then.
ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and research that. Get your rabbit hole on. But that's all I have for taste choices and recommendations.
Awesome. I like them. Good job.
Thank you.
That boogeyman was
Yeah.
not disappointing.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was probably one of the best this year I've seen. Actually,
Yes.
probably a couple years as far as a good horror movie that didn't go over the top or underwhelm you.
Hmm.
It was good. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I felt like it did just enough to build that suspense and not give you the cliched jump scares, but it was still
Wait,
it was good.
it's Leia. Leia's
Thank you.
the little girl.
Oh my God, she is.
That's the little girl that plays Leia. Are we what are we
That's
No,
talking
right.
about?
Yeah,
I
and
didn't.
Obi
Oh
Wan.
my God, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the Obi
didn't
Wan
research the
series.
characters at all because I
Yeah.
didn't recognize them. So I was just like, whatever. Like they were
Yeah,
kind of like no
You're
names. I thought
good.
to me, but
Well, the dad is actually kind of funny because before Eric and I watched this movie, we decided to have like a old movie night and we watched the what was it called? The Devil.
it's called Devil. It's
So do you
by M
remember the
Night
movie where
Shyamalan.
they're like Devil? Yeah, and they're all riding in an elevator. There's 6 people riding in an elevator, and there's a detective who is called on to the scene, and he's trying to figure out like what happened because there's somebody that like committed suicide and jumped off the side of the building. The detective is the dad.
Yeah, it just
Because I
so
knew
happened that
Eric
we
and I
didn't
kept,
know that when we watched the
yeah,
movie, but we watched Boogeyman after, and boom, there he is again. I was like,
we're
wow.
like, hey, that's the dad. I'm like, that guy looks really familiar, so that's the dad. But if you guys are like, I'm a huge M Night Shyamalan fan. Oh, the are you talking about Devil,
Devil?
Kaylee?
Yeah, it's probably one of M Night Shyamalan's better uh
It
on like transition to screen
is,
because sometimes his story it's hard for that screen transition, but this one was done well, and
yeah, for
uh
sure.
it has many different aspects to bring that fear to you, be it supernatural fear, claustrophobia,
damn.
fear of strangers. Yeah.
I took the stairs like a motherfucker. I don't blame you,
Exactly.
dude.
Yeah, so it
But
was done very well, I thought, especially because it was so small. Like it wasn't something that was like a huge Hollywood blockbuster. They probably kicked that movie out in like a month or so.
yeah,
Didn't need a whole lot of stuff to pull that movie off, but it was done
who
very well.
who is that? Do you remember that girl, the young hot one in the elevator?
Oh,
Do you remember her name?
she's the one that's in the Hallow and
The Hallow.
Skyline 2 and Malicious. She does a lot of those horror or sci-fi. I can't remember her name.
I'm looking it up right now. Stand by.
He says all
Bohana
but
Oh, the old white woman. Yeah, I know.
Novakovic. Bohana Novakovic. So if you watch Devil, she's actually in another really man, we're gonna go on forever and ever about
Yeah,
recommending
we're going.
movies, but she's in another really good movie called The Hollow,
The
where
Hallow's
it's set
good.
in Ireland, and it has a lot to do with fairies, but it's not the kind of cute fairies like Tinkerbell. It's like actual
Yeah.
evil
Real
fairies.
fairies.
Yeah,
Eee.
it is so good. If you guys have never watched The Hollow, you have to watch it. Like I remember we looked for that movie for the longest time,
Yeah, I bought it.
and
I mean, it was just a chance
yeah,
watch because ever since I watched Dog Soldiers, anytime the British put out a scary movie, I watch
Mm.
it because even if it's not the best as far as special effects go or whatever, they put their all into it with their 15 actors that they have
oh,
over there in Britain because they're in every movie they ever make. It's the same guys.
Yeah.
But when they put out a movie, they put it all in there. And I mean, they sell you a scary movie. What you're paying for. I mean, everything I've ever watched from them that was I picked up like that. I was like, wow. I never
yeah.
left feeling
Well,
like, oh man, I just watched something so stupid like it when we watched
yeah,
The Breach,
their
which was an
stories
American
are
horror
so
movie
good.
we watched recently. It was like
So you
Yeah,
want a
their stories are
sleeper
so
scary
good.
movie? Anything that's coming out of Korea and Japan right now, as far as horror goes,
Their
Go
zombie
watch it.
movies are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are phenomenal. The
Mhm.
Last Train to Busan, if you've not watched that,
Excellent.
and the new one too.
The
Both of them.
Peninsula or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both of
Yeah.
them phenomenal.
Oh, The Kingdom was a
Good.
great series on Netflix too. That was Korean.
Yeah,
The Kingdom talks
Yep,
about the Korean version of like a vampire.
yep,
It's like a slash between a ghoul and a vampire. It's awesome.
yep.
It's a great
What
They
was that
story.
one movie that the Koreans did about literally about COVID, but it was before COVID actually happened?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's like I can't remember the name, but yeah, they
Yeah.
did a really good job.
It was a good movie,
And
but
then they have they adapted a. It was what are those like comments the kids read the
Manga.
not manga, they read it online, like those little
Oh,
online
the web comics, the little
yeah,
web
The
series.
webtoons.
Are you talking about
Yeah.
the creepypasta?
Well, it's a webtoon. There's a bunch of different
Oh.
ones, but there was one in particular, it was a horror
Creepypasta's
one,
good.
and it was made into a K-drama that was like almost word for word for the webtoon, except for they changed the ending, which the webtoon ending is a lot better,
Hmm.
but it's still good nonetheless.
Right on.
Those usually are pretty good.
But yeah, anything coming out of Korea and Japan from as far as horror related goes,
Check
perfection.
it out. Tay, what else you got, sis?
no, that's it. Those were my 3 picks, and we're ready for EJ's choices.
Eric, what you
Awesome.
got, darling? Tell
Okay.
us. Tell us.
All right. So, in honor of the Ring of Fire eclipse that we had,
The Ring of Fire.
Ring of Fire.
I was thinking about our whole, cosmic situation. So I kind of went the route of a little bit different for our Halloween scare here. But anybody but Jen jump in at any moment when you can identify the movie I'm referencing. It's kind of old. AD, it was in color, just so you know.
Tommy knockers.
But my build up to the name of the movie though is not colored. So I'm going to start there. We're going to go. If you know what it is, go ahead and jump on and tell us. But I'll eventually reveal my first pick. It's inspired from a 1938 novel called Who Goes There. So that was not color.
Is it Tommy
That was
knockers?
written by John W. Campbell. Go ahead. Jeff, were you it?
Tommy
jumped on
knockers.
I
Tommy
couldn't-
knockers.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Good guess, though. The next one was The Thing from Another World, filmed in 1951. It was written by Charles Lederer, and that was black and white AD. And then they both led to the movie, which is probably my all-time favorite sci-fi horror, called The Thing in 1982, made by John Carpenter. The GOAT.
The GOAT,
The GOAT of
The
bringing
GOAT.
anthologies is John Carpenter. So
I love that movie.
The Thing, like I said, is inspired by a novel called Who Goes There, which is almost verbatim for the 1982 movie. So if you ever want to read the story that led to it, Who Goes There, 1938, John W. Campbell. It's very insightful for someone from 1938 to think of all this stuff with an extraterrestrial life form.
Scary.
So
I'm smiling because I
Anyway.
love this movie.
in 1982, John Carpenter put out this movie. The screening for it alone had people walking out or not wanting to watch it.
That's the best.
Yeah.
There are scenes in that movie to this day, even being that it's so old, that the practical effects make amazing. I mean, they make it
Yeah.
amazing. Some of it's hard to watch directly if you don't
Yeah.
like gore. Now it's not a gore fest, trust me. So a quick synopsis of the movie: a U.S. outpost located in Antarctica. They stumble upon a mystery involving a campsite nearby of Norwegian scientists. Kind of bleeds into their camp, and when this happens, they have a discovery of an extraterrestrial spacecraft and the recovery of one of its passengers. From there, the story goes on, but mainly, if you look at this movie, you'll see a lot going on. When you watch this movie, you'll see parallels to a lot of stuff that you've probably seen within the last 20 years. That either
That's a good one too.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been a good guess too. But there's so many aspects here. I kind of like it because it's got the man versus the unknown, of course, with extraterrestrial. Okay, but you also got man versus man. If you've watched movies like Mist,
Ooh,
Mist.
fucking amazing.
There's so many movies where man versus man. Walking Dead basically boils down to that. It's
Yeah.
not the evil outside that you got to worry outside. It's the evil within. You know, the
Mm.
evil that man can do upon each other, and that is very present in this. The level of distrust and so forth that comes along, and the
Mhm.
questioning, the
no.
suspicion. And then there's also man versus environment. You're in the most desolate place on the planet. You're in Antarctica, man. You can't survive outside of your camp for longer than 5 minutes, you know,
Mhm.
without the proper equipment. So there's no going away. And that kind of brings the whole thing together. Not only do you have this unknown factor, and then you've got a situation where you're dealing with other people that you don't know if you could trust and your life's in danger, you're not going anywhere. Winter's setting in. Winter in Antarctica means we may not like this, but we're stuck together for the next, 5 months.
It's like
I'll-
day after tomorrow.
All I
Like,
can
Yeah.
see is that scene in the movie
Yeah,
where they're tied
exactly.
to the fucking chair.
Tied to the damn chair.
Let
Exactly.
me out of this fucking
So-
chair.
I mean, thinking about that, this movie, 1982, it has some of the best practical effects as far as makeup that's been done. Now, there's going to be some scenes that, especially if you're a fan of more modern movies, you're going to be like, that wasn't the best. But man, it's 1982.
Dude,
Okay.
30 Days a Night was phenomenal.
That's a
And-
great one too.
And
You can't.
secretly,
I mean, it was another
it's a sleeper.
situation.
It's a sleeper.
Isolation. The threat to your
oh,
life.
where's my tissue?
The growing threat around you. So 30 Days a Night has a lot of those parallels as well.
Mhm.
Seeing that it's based on a 1938 novel, it has aliens in it. It has assimilation, cloning.
I can't handle the dogs though.
It's a lot of information.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things that you don't think someone would have thought of
That
before
poor
the
old
Second World
husky.
War.
I don't know what that husky ever did to anybody, but
I
Yeah, I
can't
know.
handle the
I almost
dog
bought
part.
that figure last week. They had
Oh,
that
it's
figure.
beautiful, man. They have some beautiful
It is.
figures coming
Yeah.
out.
They do. And then they got the
Um,
mirror face of the Thing figure as well. That's really cool.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that was amazing too. One of the promotional posters for the movie, just a little backstory, they actually used a mirror to reflect light. So a lot of people relate that poster, that advertisement, to the light coming off the face of what appears to be a man standing there. It's basically the dark silhouette of a man. But what they really were going for at first was that the mirror would reflect your own images or not exactly you. So it kind of references the
Oh.
idea that
That's creepy.
is it him or is it, it's a broken version of him or a scattered, not perfect version of that person.
Makes sense.
And here's the cool thing, what I thought is still cool to this day. The ending of that movie, I don't know. Are we going to ruin the movie? Are you going to get there, EJ?
I don't want to ruin it, but I know what you mean. And that was one of my points. Jeff brings up exactly. I think me and Jeff are both on multiple fan sites that talk about that. But the movie's ending is debated to this day. Fans
nobody
still talk
knows the
about
answer.
whether or not, in the end, who survives, who doesn't.
One
who's to
person
trust,
knows
who's
the
not
answer.
to trust.
Only one person knows the answer, and he wrote the fucking movie, and he is still to
Yeah,
this
he's
day.
still. I mean, he's the GOAT, man.
Never
He's gonna throw
told
it out there. He
who
gives
it
you a
is.
little bit that it could be either way, and you're just like, oh, John. But it's really great. I mean, people to this day, there's like charts, there's graphs where people have tried to figure out the rate of change in infection, like who was infected, when did it happen, where did the alien attack first, and people will argue that fact to this day, who the last survivors are.
Like,
I mean,
no shit.
Is it it doesn't make the movie any less or more, whatever you view in the end, how you see it. But the point is to watch it. And I mean, you can follow that yourself. You can make it down and you might be the one to figure it all out and, enlighten us all.
And then he's still not going to tell you the correct answer.
Even if you had it, he'd probably be like,
that's John Carpenter, though.
Yeah.
He literally still to this day gets like thousands of letters in the mail asking like, hey, and people send him these charts that EJ is talking about, and he has told people to stop sending him that stuff because he's never going to tell you the answer.
Because it'll ruin the mystery, you know what I mean? And that's part of what makes the movie so great. I mean, famous faces that you'll recognize, Kurt Russell. This was sort of a breakout thing for Kurt Russell. It's in the time and near the same time as Escape from New York. Because previously, Kurt Russell was a Disney actor, believe it or not. He did Disney movies in his youth. So when you saw Escape from New York, I mean, that's pretty gritty, And
Some
then this
Snake Plissken.
Yeah, he was Snake. I mean, but you get R.J. McCready. He's probably one of sci-fi's greatest, characters as well. Good old Henry Swanson, if anybody's a Big Trouble in Little China fan.
Love that movie.
Keith David, if you're a fan of any
Keith
animated
David.
movies, you're a fan of sci-fi, you know Keith David. I mean, that man is on the top list of the GOAT, man. I mean, greatest of all time. His voice is unmistakable. It's just like, it's amazing. It's from animes to Disney movies to, recently, side note, I'm playing Call of Duty and they did a whole haunting Halloween special, and you can get Spawn as your skin.
He was Spawn in the TV series.
Yeah,
he voiced Spawn
before he becomes Spawn. So
did he do that in Mortal Kombat too?
Yes,
make Spawn like a character.
Yes, he is. He plays the voice of Spawn in that too.
Yeah, and his voice is on the game. It was so awesome. I was playing it. I was like, "Oh shit, that's David."
Yeah, I heard that.
I mean, he's one of my heroes.
And
so
he plays at the Gargoyles too.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
Everything.
Anyway, yeah, Wilford Brimley, which everyone knows from the Quaker Oats and the Diabetes.
Diabetes.
But he's actually a great actor. And in fact, he's been in so much. From The Firm, I think, all the way through the 80s. He's always played an important role, usually like that wise character. And this spawned into a sequel that took like 2 decades to come out. But the sequel had is basically more of a prequel. It's not a sequel. It's a prequel of everything that happened up to the 1982 movie. What led the Norwegian camp to be in the situation it was that bled off into a U.S. camp. Mary Elizabeth Winstead's in it, and you might know her as Miss Obi-Wan or
Harrison Dula
from the recent Ahsoka series. So there's 6 degrees right there. We always trace it back to Star Wars or something else that we love. But
can I get a shout out to
movie.
Mary Elizabeth? We don't want to just identify you as Mrs. Obi-Wan, girl. You're a badass in your own right. Just saying.
Absolutely.
Chef's
Absolutely.
kiss.
But another person that I liked from the prequel from 2000, I think it's 2011. Let me double check.
While you're looking at that, one thing I did want to point out that AD said is that kind of makes it more relatable, because there's not always things in your life that are complete or that have definitive answers. So that's why that ending is kind of so unsettling, because it's so much like life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't
Well, he
know.
did leave the camp.
And that's why it makes it so unsettling.
They do leave, but you still never know who's possessed.
That's why it's so unsettling. You know what I mean? He's right.
Just other media that you might have seen before. There's a video game. I think it was 2004. A lot of people still love that game. It was one of the few times the AI was actually more interactive, and you kind of had to play along to see who to make allies with. So people enjoyed that fact because it mirrored the movie. And the video is actually the only real sequel made to date. It actually follows from the very end of the first 1982 movie, or the 1982 movie. That's not the first one, but the 1982 movie. It starts at the end of that. You're part of a rescue team that ends up in Antarctica. So the video game has a lot of cult following. It's PlayStation 2, Xbox technology, but I mean, it's still to this day a lot of people love it.
So he does know who it is. He just won't say.
Yeah. And I mean, he's kind of he'll at least step up to tell people when it's not when their theory is wrong, but he won't give the exact answer. But he'll say, oh, that's good, that's a good theory, you're close, but that's not what I meant with the
That's a good writer.
Yeah. And I mean,
Carpenter doing Carpenter things.
He's had a lot of strong influences from the Thing movie. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the series Helix. It was on Sci-Fi. It was supposed to be the Sci-Fi Channel's series of The Thing. It was supposed to carry on.
I have to put that out.
Name and funding, it fell through, so they came out with Helix. And the first season of Helix is really good. And then you have McFarlane made a toy line of collectibles. It's just beautiful. That's what Jeff was referencing earlier. It recreates a lot of the practical effects.
Yes, Carpenter is the petty of petty.
Dark Horse Comics has a series run on it. It's beautifully drawn. It holds a place in a lot of people's hearts. Like I said, Ending's still very debated to this day. There's rumor right now, just letting y'all know. Okay, this is not founded. We haven't gotten official from USDN isn't officially approving it yet, but rumor is that they've already talked about a sequel, and Carpenter's on board. He would really like to see a continuation of the story, whether or not it carries with any of the original characters. But if he's on board, at least the quality of the story should be intact. Because
And those rumors have picked up quite a bit here recently.
yeah,
and
within the last year or so.
I'm
Yeah.
sure Carpenter already has a sequel on the shelf because it's Carpenter. It's what he does.
Exactly.
And I'm sure he could pull it off the shelf at any moment.
Yeah.
I want Kurt Russell. I want Keith David, and I want Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Thank you.
I know. Yeah,
That's what I want. That please,
I'd love
thank
to
you.
see
I
where
won't
they
argue
went.
that. I'm on board either way.
Yeah.
John,
Can I
if you're
just
listening,
point out?
yes, dear.
Can I just point out the fact that Jen took off her headset that has the sound to try to hear EJ without the sound? Can I just point that out because that was hilarious to me?
We call that ginning
It's time
around
for
here.
it's time for another shot. Apparently.
Tay gets me. Tay, you get me. You get my soul.
Anyway, so like I said, that's just a rumor. It's not founded yet, but Jeff is right. It's been ongoing for about a year now. That's been thrown around. Whether it be a TV show or actual movie is yet to be seen.
Yeah, whether it be Netflix or Amazon, I wouldn't care either way. I would be like a kid in front of the TV on a Saturday morning watching it.
Yeah, I mean, to see the
with a bowl of cereal.
I mean, it'd be a dream of mine to see that, story carried on. The idea behind it, especially, I don't want to throw out any spoilers, but if you ever get a chance to watch the 1982 The Thing, Kurt Russell, Keith David, John Carpenter movie, if you get a chance to watch through it, just tell me if in the end, if you actually wouldn't like to see a continuation of that story.
And then let me off this motherfucking couch.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that's my overall big pick. It's what I wanted to go over, and basically because there's so much stuff with it, so many directions you can go, theories that have been thrown out. I wanted to give that to our friends and viewers, just so you could see. You want to go and you can go back and double check versus the book. There's so many ways to enjoy this, especially in this season. It is a horror. It is a sci-fi at its core. Very, very, very well thought out. It's one of those things like we were talking about possible something terrible, scary because it could happen. Okay. We don't know what alien life would be like. We don't know what we could come across. The idea that an alien life form could be out there that's more, let's say more plant-like, more more viral. We don't know. We don't know what it would be like. So in my eyes, a lot of those movies, even the ones we discussed prior on USDN, like the Predator series and the references to aliens, anytime you're dealing with something that's extraterrestrial or something in the unknown, we can't say it's impossible. We don't know what they would be like. We don't know how it would be. So it is a very possible fear or possible horror, as opposed to something like, we can all kind of agree that we haven't come across Bigfoot yet. So a Bigfoot horror movie, as people may enjoy it, the possibility of it is less real than, hey, we came across a life form from another world that's completely
It's like that
different.
Florida Gator movie. I can't remember what it was called, but there's a movie out there about like a hurricane that hits, and then there's a gator like
Gator King.
Tornado.
I can't remember what it's called.
Gator
Somebody,
King.
oh,
Hurrigator.
80s got me.
Oh, Annihilation.
If
Is
I
that what
may,
the movie was?
if I may quote,
No,
Fox
Annihilation
Mulder,
was with Natalie Portman. Yeah, that wasn't that movie. That movie was amazing, but that's not the movie I was talking about.
but to quote Fox Mulder, they're out there.
Yeah. So,
See what I did
with
there?
that idea, my second choice was also an extraterrestrial movie. I moved closer to modern time with this one. 1988. Yes, it's color 80. 1988. It was almost in the 90s. So it's called The Blob. It's a remake because the original was in the 50s. All right, and then you had another one in
that one in color?
1972, which
No.
everyone has
I
forgotten.
don't think it was.
The Blob in the late 80s. It's basically a meteor crashes to Earth outside a small American town.
Mhm.
Slimy organism ends up attaching to a homeless man. There, it just kind of spirals out of control. Okay, once again, we're running into man versus the unknown, but it also has that same aspect: the man versus man, young man versus authority. Kind of the similar tracks that happen when you bring in people that we've talked about earlier, where you got these 20, 30 somethings playing high school people. Yeah, fighting against the man. It's definitely I brought this one up because I thought that it's done well as far as the
It's Technicolor.
the practical effects are done well, but I think like where this movie succeeds is one is the lighting. Lighting is something I feel like a lot of these movies are failing to with more of the recent horror movies.
Can
It's
can I point something out really quick? Since Jeff kind of got my brain on the X-Files, that was actually something that the director Chris Carter was really big on, is that when Mulder and Scully were investigating things, the only thing that you could see was with their flashlight
Mhm.
illuminated. So I 100% agree with you, Eric, is that it's lighting is so important because that light draws your eyes to that area. I
And that was
100%
something
agree.
that the X-Files did so
Yeah.
damn
perfect.
well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chris Carter was a
100%.
genius with that.
He
And I
was.
always refer back to stuff and say the X Files did it. I know recently Tay was like, oh, there's some, it was something she was talking about. And I was like, oh yeah, there's an episode of the X Files about that.
Yeah.
So there's always something that you could say, oh, there's an X Files episode about that.
Yeah. And I
There's
mean,
actually a
you don't want to
episode of
go
Star
too
Trek
dark.
about
You
it.
don't want it to be to where nobody could see what's going on. But Chris Carter had that perfect balance. Like they'd
Mhm.
stand in a room where the flashlight light was just enough to where you could see maybe part of Mulder's face, a little bit of Scully, but the rest they're looking at the scene. They're directing
Mhm.
your eyes to what the director wants you to see.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of the
So
screen being all lit up and we're seeing all this action, all this CGI, all this, it's like it's almost overwhelming. And
And
then
it's a
it
cost
takes away
effective
from
way
the
of doing
fear. It takes
business
away
as
from the
well.
suspense.
well,
It's a
the
cost
other
effective
thing
way.
too is that if you ever play any sort of like role playing game, it actually kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Is because when you're playing a role playing game and you have to roll to like search for things, you have to be very specific about what you're looking for. You can't just say, well, oh, I look around the room. You have to say, okay, I'm, what do I see? Do I see this? Okay, I want to go check this out. And you have to roll every time. And it kind of reminds me of that because you have to be very specific in what you're looking at. And
It
he
makes you
kind
more
of like
involved.
he almost pantomimes it through like Mulder and Scully when he's looking at things. Like I can't praise that enough. Like that was such a smart decision on the director and like creator.
Yeah, I mean, you
So
think
the
about it.
Evil Within, if you ever played that,
Yeah,
is that way.
yeah.
Like you have to keep your light on.
Yeah.
That
Silent
movie
Hill's
was
the
I
same.
remember
scary.
that
In
Yeah,
game.
Silent
Silent
Hill,
Hill, same way.
the flashlight is a key. And I
Five
mean,
Nights
Mhm.
at Freddy's.
yeah,
Yeah, that
Another
one
one.
too.
exactly.
Yeah.
When you think about it, most of the movies that may
Yeah.
have stirred the most fear or anticipation of fear or suspense, if you think about it, a lot of them were darker. AD brought up a good point. Alien Requiem was considered very dark. If you ever get a
Mhm.
chance to watch it again and turn up the brightness and contrast on your TV, it's actually pretty good. I've seen it to where, but that director made the mistake of muddying the picture by bringing it way too dark, you
Yeah.
know. But
There's the opposite. Yeah.
you could go either way, but I feel like today we get a lot of stuff that's CGI, and in order for CGI to work, they seem to throw too much light into the moment or too much action into the moment.
Right.
And
Mhm.
it
They
kills
got to
it
get the most out of the CGI because they're
because it's
paying
expensive.
heavily for it.
Yeah. So anyway, as it applies to the Blob, I feel like the practical effects, the lighting really make it work. And the fact that it
Mhm.
makes you feel the movie constantly pushes you in a direction like they're fleeing. So you're constantly feeling that need to get away. The let's
Yeah,
escape.
that
You gotta find
fight
somewhere
or
safe.
flight kind of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That fight or flight, the suspense of are they going to be safe in this
Mhm.
new room that they found or on top of this building or in this car? Can they get away? It constantly continues. So that was I felt like a good contrast. Whereas the thing is like the anticipation and the waiting, and then the
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
confinement. We can't get away. and then you go to the Blob, and it's like we've got to get away. We've got to get
Yeah.
out of here. You know, so it was a good contrast of the two. But yes, Kaylee, good. The Silent Hill is amazing when it comes to use of light.
And I love the movies they made off of that too.
I did too.
I know a lot of people don't like them,
slammed it.
but I enjoyed them. Even the spin-offs of the movies.
Yeah.
And the backstories and everything else they've done around that has been good.
Yep. I agree completely. Silent Hill, I'm waiting for the re-release of the remake of the Silent Hill 2 for PS5. It's probably my favorite one out of the series, next to Origins, I think is Origins. It was on the PSP. It was a great game.
The only thing I didn't like about that one is because it was on PSP.
Yeah.
And you didn't really get the full effect of it.
But it was a great game because, I mean, you're playing from the stories that you've already seen, but you're playing as the truck driver that's only seen partially in Silent Hill 2. So you see from his perspective how everything unravels during this whole story. And it's pretty neat. Plus, I like the fact that the creators of those stories made multiple endings. So it's not the same for everyone.
Yeah.
You could play through and have an ending that has to do with UFOs, or you could play through and have an ending that has to do with Satan and hell, you know? So it was definitely interesting take on the survival horror genre for a game. So my last pick, I came back down to earth for this one. Wanted to go a little classic to complete it. But this one's I feel is an obscure movie. We just happened upon it one night. I don't know if very many people seen it, so I hope that if you haven't, you give it a chance and check it out. This is along those lines of a more of a found footage or documentary style movie. I noticed AD had mentioned that he had liked that since Cloverfield. So this came out in 2013. It's called Afflicted.
Oh, good pick, babe.
Films. Afflicted is it's a story of two best friends who set out on the trip of a lifetime. Like they're at the end of their college years. They're going to do this one trip before they settle into their lives. You know what I mean? And
yes, AD's seen it.
Document the trip and post it. Awesome, AD. They're going to post it online for their friends to follow as they go on this trip of a lifetime. During the trip, though, they've made they're trying to live it up to the fullest. Their trip takes a dark turn when decisions are made, and basically ends up being choices are made, and the repercussions. One of the two friends, Derek, is now having to deal with being afflicted with some unknown ailment or change. Okay, I definitely wish everyone could check it out. I view it as it's got a lot of different aspects for man versus morality. As the story goes, and he feels this affliction taking hold of him on his trip, he has to deal with the fact: am I going to die? Is my life just starting? Am I going to die? So that's going on in there. His friends trying to be supportive, but at the same time they're scared. They don't really understand what's going on, and you're watching it all unravel as it goes forward.
Is that the one with the pigs where they like go up to like a farm? Or am I thinking of a different? It is that movie.
They do go up to a farm in it.
Yeah, and there are pigs there. Okay, I know exactly what movie you're talking about. Sorry,
that's such a random part of the movie.
That is a very random part.
That's okay. I know what you're talking about, though.
I am surprised and impressed at the same time.
Yeah.
Pigs. Out of the whole movie, Kate comes out. Is that the one with the pigs?
Well, I didn't want to like ruin the part of the movie, so I was just like, pigs. There are pigs. Like that's all.
That's a good way to call it out without giving spoilers. But I say this is, like I said, it's got man versus morality, man versus himself as far as urges and the debate of power versus responsibility, man versus the future, the unknown again, but in a sense of time, your destiny. Can you change your destiny? There's no mainstream actors. Okay, if you look this movie up, nobody's going to stand out.
Looking it up.
So it makes it all the more feel more real. When you feel so you're really immersed in this story, this guy's struggle. Yeah. So I hope you guys check it out. The plot summary and everything I shared a little bit with you is directly from IMDb. I took portions there so you could get you can find it on there. Wait,
The thing
I'm
with
trying to
the
read Kaylee's
tank and they go change a thing. Yes, that's the movie. Correct.
Listen, Linda.
You know, I remember watching that movie and they did that found footage kind of thing, documentary style so well. I'm like, I remember sitting there and watching with you, Eric, and I'm like, dude, is this real? I'm like,
It
I know
felt
it's not
real,
Yeah.
real,
yeah.
but
It
it felt
literally looks
real.
so real. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And
He did such a good job.
effects they incorporate in it are very simple effects, but they use it to the full extent to where it looks
Yeah.
real. I mean, enough to make you question whether or not what you're watching is real.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not to the ridiculousness like the Blair Witch, where they were like, "Oh, is this a true story?" And we're gonna shake the camera so much you don't know if it's true because it's
I'm gonna shake my camera, okay?
yeah.
Don't
I
throw
mean,
up.
it wasn't like that. It was done like they used enough little moments to where you're like, "This seems very real."
Yeah, it's like a
Well,
wide shot, and then you see like different things come into frame, and you're like, "Oh shit, it's the bitch."
So it's definitely if
that's
you
that
get a
bitch.
chance, check it out. I hope you like it. It's probably my favorite point of view documentary style movie. So, and that's the last of my recommendations. You have
Excellent.
any inputs? Let me know.
Yeah.
Excellent recommendation. Love that movie.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh
That
yeah.
I haven't seen the other two that you were talking about. But the Afflicted is actually one that I have seen. And while you were talking about it, I realized that I had seen it. I've seen it
Yeah.
multiple times actually, but
AD mentioned it's one of his. He likes it, so I was like, "That's cool. We have a lot of same taste then."
I'm totally using that phrase when needed, Tay. Which phrase? The one with the pigs?
The one with the pigs,
Is that the one
That's
with the
just gonna be a
pigs?
thing now.
Yes.
because there's a lot of application for that.
Yeah,
Having
because
a
it's not
conversation with
Hannibal
somebody.
where they have
Yeah,
the
Hannibal
pigs
has
spit.
pigs.
Yeah, but
Snatch,
Snatch has
yeah,
pig.
Snatch has pigs.
Babe,
Bricktop
Babe
feeds
has
people to
pigs.
pigs, so that's his
Babe
There's a
is
Snatch.
the
season
pig.
of American Horror Story where they have pigs.
Pigs.
Oh, I haven't
Uh,
seen it yet. Yeah.
Oh, you'll
Wild
see it.
Hog,
It's disgusting.
John
Oh shit,
Travolta's
it's a
best
bitch.
movie. Isn't that John Travolta? I don't know.
That's a good.
It's got pigs in it, right?
That's the phrase.
Oh,
Oh
shit,
shit,
it's the
it's the
Oh
bitch.
bitch.
shit, it's the bitch.
Oh, it's the bitch.
But literally,
It
when
was,
like As
man.
Above, So Below is another good movie.
That
If
is a
you
good movie.
like
Yes, that's
catacombs
very good.
It is.
and
That's
Yeah,
one of the
um,
better
I've actually seen that one.
documentary
Yeah.
style,
yeah,
point of view movies. It actually is done very well. I like the fact that it enters some of that puzzle and figuring out things more than just people running around screaming.
yeah,
Because I mean, I like Cloverfield Lane.
Cloverfield is
I
good.
didn't really care
The
for
whole
Cloverfield, the first one.
no, you got all of them all the way through. The first one, if you go back and rewatch it after you've watched the newer ones, it makes a little bit more sense. But
It's
yeah,
the story. Okay, so the story in Cloverfield is good. It's the camera shaking that kind of kills it for me. Like I think there
it
was one thing
does.
that we talked about, Eric and I talked about, where I wish that they would have had somebody with like maybe something mounted or something, like maybe even like one of
Yeah.
the soldiers had something like
Or a
mounted on
cop,
them that
with a
could have been
body
a little bit
cam,
more
that
something that
if
made
you're
stable.
sense.
running around with your phone and an explosion happens, you're gonna
On
shake.
top of that,
Yeah.
well, I mean, if all that's happening, I'm gonna drop the fucking camera. I'm like, fuck this! I'm not
Exactly.
gonna be
Where
filming that
the
stuff.
part that they lost me on Cloverfield is every single time something happens, they go back and grab the little video camera. I'm like, if there's giant bugs eating my friend, I am not going to go, you know what? I better go get that camera.
Starship
Stand by.
Troopers.
It was
Hey,
just,
they
it
had
would've made
mounted
sense
cameras in
if it was a
Starship
body
Troopers.
cam of some
Okay,
kind, be it like the soldiers that showed up, they might have had a helmet on their head or helmet with a cam or something that made sense as to why there's always a camera. Like
Yeah.
a good example is the movie Quarantine, which is based on Record, which is a Spanish movie. But
Good.
it's a news crew. So of course they're going to have the camera.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
Cloverfield, it's a going away party with a handheld.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring this everywhere. I'm about to go take a poop and I'm going to bring this in there too. Like, dude, that is so unrealistic. Like the building's falling on my head.
Grab the camera. Hang on.
Come on, man. It just
Sorry. I had a pen in mind.
it killed it for me because it just was so far off from, if someone's getting eaten right next to you or a building falls on your best friend, you're not sitting there going, you know what? That mini cam is going to be all I need to make sure this situation's better.
No, but this generation with the TikToks, it is.
Yeah,
That is
girl,
with
I
their
was
phone.
just
Even
gonna
the phones that
Kids
made
with
more
their
sense.
tickety
Like,
talk.
Nowadays, people would do that.
yeah.
Yeah, not back then, way
It's
back in the
Cloverfield's
day.
World
fault.
Star.
Cloverfield did it.
World Star.
This is going to be a World Star, man.
Yeah.
It's
But-
Anyway,
Fucking horrible.
you
At
guys
least
ready for?
Cloverfield's better than Blair Witch when it comes to that. Blair
Yes.
Witch was just
That and then the runny nose.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Dude, the boogers were epic.
I'm cold.
They were. I don't know if those were real or fake, but they were some big old boogies.
It's real.
It's real.
That's
We're
100%
talking about
real.
another movie. Have any of you seen The Exorcist of Emily Rose?
Yes.
Yes, actually.
I
yeah.
know I loved you. That is the
Ex-
best. I love
Based
that
on a
movie.
true exorcism. It's this very sad story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but great film.
Yeah, it was.
Great film.
That movie. Oh my goodness. Actually, the what is her name? Jennifer Carpenter?
Hmm. That was the first movie I really noticed her in.
I want to say I read something in there that part of the reason why she got the part was because she was able to like contort her body in certain positions. Like when you see the demon that's like on her and she's all like this and stuff. Like she could do that. Or when she was like trying to reach for like the crucifix of Jesus and everything, when she was like leaning back, like she actually did that. That wasn't special effects. I want to say I read something that that said that was part of the reason why she got that part. Yes. She's very malleable.
Contortionist in a circus before she got that job.
She takes her
Gotta start
collagen.
somewhere.
She lived in a box.
All right, so it's final shots and thoughts time. It is time for the closer of the event of tonight. Thank you for everybody for tuning in for our very own USDN All Hallows Eve Part 1 episode. Go ahead and watch the USDN the USDN page for updates for All Hallows Eve Part 2 coming to you. And Queens of Nerdom, we are coming back with episode 6. If you guys don't remember, we did the Hogwarts Heroes, so we will be doing this Hogwarts Villains. That is coming on the 18th of November at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also have our interview series. So if you guys can think of anybody, yes, Chef, what's up?
So, if you have been watching the USDN page, friend of the podcast and a very talented artist was just picked up to do Thundercats.
Our man Drew.
Is it Drew?
Drew is doing Thundercats. And recently posted up some of his he did a few redesigns on some of the characters. He made a couple of them a little bit more aggressive. And I'm digging it.
Yeah.
And also Drew owes us an explanation on the Gargoyles movie. I'm with you, Kaylee, because we are actually getting a live action Gargoyles.
Oh.
No comment. He was sworn to secrecy by the first
Yeah, maybe
order.
as a
I mean, this is true too.
agreement.
He can't. He
But
can't do
so,
If he tells us they'd have
but
to
it's all
kill him.
good.
that.
He
He'd be
did
eviscerated
say
by ninjas.
he did say to hit him up, and he would come on and
Hit him
give
up
us some talk.
style.
And so we're gonna try to get him back on to talk some Thundercat action.
That's awesome.
And I do know he's got a cover. David Nakayama's got a cover. There's probably going to be about 12 covers in total for just the first issue, maybe more as we get closer to time. And Kaylee said Drew literally lied while he drew his pictures. He probably he does have to sign NDAs and stuff like that. So there is certain things that he cannot talk about.
Did he?
So I get
He's
it.
like, look at the pretty flowers.
Look at the pretty flowers.
No, it's a
Look at the
tree.
pretty
It's the Bob
flowers.
Ross tree.
Look at the
Bob
flowers.
Ross.
Look at the flowers.
Yeah.
What a
That's
happy
the
little
best
tree right here.
scene from The Walking Dead. If
Yeah.
you've not watched The Walking Dead, watch it till you see her tell that little girl to look at the fucking flowers. And then that screen cuts black.
Like grandpa vibe.
But
flowers.
But we're gonna try to get Drew back on. That's what I was getting at there before we got distracted.
Okay. No, thank you for that, Jeff. But other than, Drew Moss, is there anybody else that you guys want us to collab with? Please let us know. Shout them out. Let us know. We love to do our interview series, and we're very open to ideas. So please let us know. A special thank you goes out to the DFPN. What about my hand?
My hand is up. I have something else.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I missed that. Go ahead.
We just recently had a collab with Darth Vader. If you haven't seen it, go over to Patreon and go to episode 7, I think it is. And we get a chance to sit down and talk to Darth Vader's. So, yeah. There's a collab for you if you missed it.
Yeah, it was part of our Ahsoka rap series. So if you guys didn't see that, please go check it out. It is also available not only on our Patreon, but as well as I do believe it's on YouTube. It will be releasing on Tuesday. No.
Not on YouTube, it's just on Patreon, and then I will release it on Spotify. I think that episode is releasing Tuesday.
Okay. Cool.
Spotify Tuesday. Okay.
I stand corrected. I thought that was the one that we did on Facebook, but I'm sorry. It was on Patreon, and it will be released on Tuesday with timings. So stay tuned for that.
Oh, actually, it was Facebook. It was the finale.
The rap party, yeah.
Yeah. So that will be, I think we're about 2 weeks out for that one.
Okay.
And then this episode will be 3 weeks.
Yeah, this one's okay.
Okay, sweet. So go ahead and stay tuned on our Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere that you really get your podcast, it's there. And if you don't know how to do fancy technology stuff, we have a link tree for that. As well as in our link tree is a link for our Patreon that is part of the DFPN Patreon, where you'll get a bunch of other shows, not only us, but you'll get Queens of Nerdum, you'll get The Smoke Pit, and many, many others.
No gimmicks.
Yep.
No gimmicks.
The
There you
patio
go.
with Kim.
Patio with Kim.
Yeah,
Real
thank
food.
you.
Real food.
Real
Yeah,
food.
see?
Smitty,
There are
yep.
so many different podcasts that we have out there on our DFPN network. Please watch them, check them out. They're super great. Can't say enough great things about these guys. Kately says he nominates Nick Smith. It's a great cosplay.
We're not taking nominations at this time. Thank you.
Okay, sweet. So, again, a special thank you goes out to the DFPN podcast group for all of the love and support that you guys have given us.
Absolutely.
And we are always open to your feedback. We want your feedback. So we want you to tell us what you enjoyed or what you didn't enjoy, because sometimes that happens too. We just want to know what you want, so we can
Work
get
with
you
it.
the best product possible.
Yeah.
Hit that like, subscribe, and share buttons, and stay tuned for more. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is USDN approved. Jeff with that outro, please.
We out.